Today and tomorrow are the most unproductive days in American industry.
Dude, it's so much fun. And I'll tell you, being at work is actually really fun. And I'm sure many offices are like this, but being at work is so much fun because, when you work with people, you don't get to see that fun side of them. You don't get to see the other side of them. I mean, like you and I go hang out, after work. Like we'll go to Good Old Days and Coming and hang out and shoot the breeze and talk about the show, talk about life, talk about the kids. So we have that personal relationship, but most people don't have that with the people they work with until today. And like you said, tomorrow, the most two unproductive days of the stinking year, and it's all around basketball, and people just cut loose, and it all starts about, right about lunchtime when people are, kind of filing out of the office anyway. People just, you actually get to see the other side of people instead of just the nose to the grindstone doing the thing that they're paid to do, which I probably a lot of companies are wishing that these were a little more productive. But it's fun to see people's other side. You're cheering for Creighton or Louisville or Purdue or High Point or whomever. Well, and that one definitely High Point because everybody's going to take the underdog, hoping they knock them off. But it's fun to be able to spend time with your coworkers that way.
Well, the times that we're talking as far as the tip-offs, we've got it, and this is just the early part of the day. 12:15, 12:40, 1:30, 2 o'clock, 2:50. Yeah.
You work until noon.
You're all taken care of until noon. And also, this happens to coincide with the most amount of times that men get vasectomies.
Right. Yeah, do you want to explain that? Because most people, they probably haven't thought about it. And until, I don't know, I was ready to get the big V, I don't know that I really thought about it.
So the reason why, of course, is that you're laid up for a couple of days. And typically, if you do have this procedure done, your wife, girlfriend, spouse, whatever, they have to typically help you out because you got to kind of take it easy for a couple days. Well, what better time to do it than when you have tournament basketball from 12:10 until 10 o'clock tonight?
Dude, that is dude thinking at its best. When whoever came up with that, I was like, dude, if I go get the V done like on March 20th or the day before, you went yesterday, whatever it is, and you got the rest of the day to just go to relax and watch basketball, sit on a bag of peas, and your sweet wife, your girlfriend, whomever, they're just, do you need anything? You know what? I could use another glass of water.
I could use another beer. You're not supposed to be drinking. It's fine. Listen, the final start tonight is at 10:10 with UNC Wilmington and Texas Tech. Just get me one beer, woman.
That's right. I'll rotate. I promise. I'll go water, beer, water, beer, water, beer.
Beer, meds. It'll be fine.
But you don't want to say that. You can't say that. No, you don't want to say that. That's why I say it. You got to go water, beer. Like, you got to set it up right, You can't just leave it out there like you can't tell them what you're really doing.
So some of y'all are doing it. You're doing it right today. And hopefully by noon, you can just let the boss man know you're going to get all the effort you can out of me until about 11:30, 11:45, and then that's about it.
That's it. And I expect at this point, because it's become such a monumental day, and this is such a fun time that, bosses know that. I don't say they like it. Companies don't like it per se, but let me tell you, I think David Dickey's probably going to be dialed into the tournament too. He's a guy he's fun dude to be around, and he loves sports. There's a reason he and his family started 680 The Fan, the heritage sports station. They love sports too. So I think it'll be cool to be in the office.
I think it'll be fun to see the sales floor at right around 12 o'clock. It'll be cleaned out, and more than likely, see, we're not on these emails. There are office factions, and one of the factions that goes on is the sales staff does their own thing. Yeah. Programming does their own thing sometimes. Right. Like, for instance, last night, you could take a majority of our sister station, and they were all having a steak dinner out. That. They took their pictures. They were having a good time. Me, I'm basically sitting on the couch wearing shorts. Yeah. Tug is doing the same thing in South Carolina. Yeah. Now, the sales staff, they're going to be probably hooting and hollering across the street at some bar, having a good time. And we'll just be sitting over here wearing shorts.
Uninvited is what we'll be. We'll be uninvited.
I mean, I might end up, having to crash that thing and tell you about how mRNA is slowly killing you. And let's see how that goes.
They already exiled you for that. I don't know how to do it.
That's right. Hey, did you know you did long-term damage to your immune system?
By taking the COVID vax. I love it. I think it's awesome.
Do you know the communists kill one another?
Do you know they want to do that in America too? Have you considered the fact that that's what they want to do?
You know that Michelle Obama might have a ding dong,
dude. They would,
and that's why I'm not allowed.
That's right, dude. They would immediately send you on your way. They'd be like, "No, we're having any more of this.
Too much."
I know you don't fill out a bracket. Final thought here. I know you don't fill out a bracket, but do you have like a project who's going to win this thing all, or do you just enjoy it?
No, I just enjoy it. Even last night. Like, I grew up, living about 45 minutes south of the University of Texas. And so my first exposure to, like, college football, college basketball was going to Texas games. So I was watching them and Xavier play, and because I didn't have any money on it, I didn't have a bracket, I didn't have anything that I was invested in, I just enjoyed the game. Okay. The first four, I've enjoyed watching every single one of them. Now, granted, college basketball is sometimes hard to watch because it gets really sloppy.
It can, yep.
In comparison to pro ball, and pro ball has its own issues. But but if I find myself, if I don't have a pick or if I'm not rooting for something in a bracket, man, I can't wait to get the last like 3 minutes and it's a tight ball game.
Yeah, it's fun. It is. I don't know. I know for my wife who doesn't know much about basketball, Laura's she's no basketball aficionado by any means. She loves to have a reason to be engaged. That's the reason. You know what I mean? That's the reason for her to fill out a bracket. So she can follow along, and then she's got somebody to cheer for. She just wants to be involved, because it is so fun. So that's the reason she used it. I don't have a prediction for national title. She even asked me this last night. As you mentioned, I'm down in South Carolina today and tomorrow. But as we talked, before bedtime last night, she asked me, who do you think's going to win this thing as it starts tomorrow? I was like, I don't know. I don't have any idea. I'm keeping up with people burning down Teslas. I don't got time to keep up with basketball.
Because I'm just dirty like this. I'm just going to say that the basketball school that only plays basketball, probably I will be holding a happy thought for Auburn.
Okay.
Because they're not a football school anymore.
That's sad news. That's sad news.
And that's,
Auburn sucks.
And that's the fun part about it. It's like, oh, yeah, you and your basketball school, we play football. No, you don't.
You haven't
for quite a while.
That's right. And I have some dear friends. I mean, dear friends. Many of them that are Auburn fans. And I don't feel bad at all.
No, it's fun to mess with them.
That's right.
And some friends of ours on our volleyball team, both of them are Auburn grads, and it's when they talk about Auburn right now, everything's basketball oriented.
Yep.
But some of them, not everybody, but some of them would love to be able to trade a tournament win for a magic first down button where you can push it anytime during the fall and you're going to get a first down.
Yeah, absolutely. You would take that, probably that first down button, the easy button like Staples used to have, the first down button, and trade that for a full-on national championship. Is that what you just said? Because that's what I think they would go that far.
I'm saying a tournament win.
Okay, because I got to tell you, I know some diehard Auburn football fans. They would trade a national championship in football, basketball, gymnastics, equestrian. You pick the sport for that first down button. They're that desperate, and they can't figure out. They have two mascots. It's confusing. That's the other thing.
It always is.
I always get more.
But I think obviously they're the number one overall seed in the tournament.
They're good. I love Bruce Pearl too, by the way.
Yeah, Bruce Pearl is he's a dude, and so
he is.
They will have that opportunity. Probably similar to what happened last year, where they got down to the last grouping of teams, and at that point, it's anyone's ball game. There's nobody who is Villanova from several years ago, or one of these teams where you're just like, okay, they're head and shoulders above everybody.
Yeah. Binder's got a new book out that she's promoting. That's kind of her thing now. I saw her on a bunch of the...
Binder.
Well, yes. Yeah. So, if you don't know, that's what we call the former press secretary, Carice Jean-Pierre, we call her Binder, because that's what she did. Anytime that she needed to answer a question, she had this gigantic binder, and she would open it up almost like a college professor and go to the page, and then she would find the correct answer, and she would read it to the press. So we kind of gag and goof about that. But we don't have that anymore. thankfully, we have a woman in Carolyn Levitt that gets up there and just fires away. She does not hold back, and she will tell you exactly what the president's thinking, exactly what she's thinking, and specifically, Los, when it comes to these domestic terrorists, as Donald Trump has called them, targeting Tesla dealerships, and they really call out Democrats for being quiet about this.
Well, enjoy it now while you can, because most of the time your press secretary is going to knock out a couple years, maybe, and then they'll move on to their cable television job. That's pretty much the way it's going to be. Now, probably not for Binder, because Binder clearly doesn't know the information all that well. That's why she had to go to the Binder. But when it comes to Levitt, there is no Binder. She just immediately goes on the attack. Take a listen, though, as she brings up the discussion about all the domestic terrorism going on with Tesla.
Tesla, there's a website that's trying to dox Tesla owners across the country and saying they're only going to take down personal information when people show that they've sold their cars. What's the administration going to do about that?
I haven't seen that website, but we certainly think it's despicable, the violence that has taken place against Tesla, the company, its employees, and also just Americans who have chosen to drive an electric vehicle. Many of them are Democrats, by the way. Democrats were big supporters of Tesla and of electric vehicles until Elon Musk decided to vote for Donald Trump. So we would like Democrats to also come out and condemn this heinous violence that we have seen, and I believe the Attorney General has said she's investigating these incidents as acts of domestic terrorism.
And she should. And that's exactly what should happen. But it's so funny because we've talked about this a million times. Like, I thought it was about the environment. I thought it was, saving the earth and all that. And then these people are going to set fire to Tesla dealerships, set fire to Tesla cars, and charging. And that creates this horrible chemical. I don't know if they realize that when you set a battery on fire, those chemicals are released in the atmosphere. Surely they know that.
Don't care. It was never about that.
That's right. But that's the thing. It was always a front. And that's I think that's the most frustrating part is that was the message for so long. And now they don't even pretend that that's a message anymore.
No, it was never that important. It was always about the idea of being able to have control over people and to be able to subjugate them and for them to go along. Buying the Tesla at one point was like the higher end version of the mask. Like everybody could wear the mask to show that I'm down for the struggle. But you want to take it up a notch? You went and bought a Tesla. Now it's turned into, oh my God, I'm driving the Elon mobile and I have to get rid of this thing. I was looking at the resale market. You can find a pretty nice Tesla for as low as $25,000, $26,000. This might be the time where Daddy considers buying a Tesla.
Yeah, you brought that up the other day. The only fear I have is getting them repaired. You know what I mean? Because we talked about the Ford a few days ago, from the story from a few years ago where somebody bought like a Ford EV, the battery dies, and then it was like $14,000 for a new battery on a car that they bought for like $5,000. I know Tesla's a way different, but that's what makes me nervous about buying one.
Well, I am not sharing that as of now. Now, I don't want a Cybertruck. I do want a truck, okay? Like, I'm getting to that point. I always told my wife that when the kids were older and nobody needed to be in the baby chairs and all that sort of stuff, that this is what I was going to do. But I now feel compelled to at least have the discussion, Elon Musk has helped save our society. No, and look what he's doing to these people. Maybe I might support it a little bit further.
Yeah, no, that part of it makes a lot of sense. Although, dude, you're a pickup truck dude. And I had a friend.
It's just been a while.
When's the last time you had a pickup truck?
Well, we always drove them. My dad always had trucks. Yeah, sure. And then even when I was growing up, I typically had like a larger SUV. And then once I moved to Atlanta and started putting the miles on, that's when I kind of went with like mid-sized SUVs. I would like to be able to be like, all right, I want to buy a vehicle that I can't put in the garage.
Dude, I'm like Joe Diffie, brother. I mean, my first car was a pickup truck. So that's the only thing I've ever driven, and it is... There's just something great about a pickup truck. I wish I could describe it. I wish I knew what it was that makes a pickup truck great. But there is just I don't think there's anything else I want to drive. There's nothing that's why you need to get yourself a pickup. But and with the whole Tesla thing, we talked about this the other day. I can't remember if it was on the air or off. those are perfect for in-town driving.
Yes.
You can't go on long vacations with them because you got to find, the charging networks, and right now they're being burned down, so you wouldn't have one. But you in town, you're good to go. I mean, there's a charging station there in the Orange Deck where we park here at the Battery.
Yeah, it actually makes sense that as long as you get there early enough, and I mean we do, so it would never be a problem. But if I have some neighbor friends of ours. My neighbor and I compete on each other's lawn on a regular basis over who got what cut. But he does have a Tesla, and the only reason that they bought another vehicle for his wife and the way they did was because they were getting tired of every time they drove to Florida. Yeah. They would have to stop for an hour to recharge that thing each way.
Dude, I love Carolyn Levitt, though. Back to the original point at hand. She is so calm, cool, and collected. She never has a hiccup. She never misspeaks. She's straight to the point. You know exactly what the message is. There's no bumbling. I don't even think she has a binder in front of her.
Oh, I don't.
I've never seen one.
No, and I will say this. Kaylee McEnany, now, she had a binder.
She's a Waffle House lady.
Yes, she is, definitely. But her binder was different. Her binder wasn't go to it and find the answers. She would keep track of whatever news organization had said about the original Trump team, back from 2017 to 2020. And so when a New York Times reporter would ask a question, she would turn through her binder and go, well, let me tell you what your paper said last week. I mean, that was a fun use of the binder. It wasn't KJP going, all right, I don't know the answer here. Here's what the answer is.
Right. Dude, I love a good press secretary. There's been a few of them over the years. And that is a job that, like you said, it only lasts a couple of years because the burnout is so high. Because that is a 24/7, 365. There is never an off day. There's never an off switch. They are in front of the press all of the time. She got a new baby. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see how long she does this for. But like you said, enjoy her while you can.
Give me a year or two. I'll be happy.
Yeah. Tim Walls, Los, he says he can kick your ass. I mean, I don't know if that's the case or not. I mean, I'm guessing he waves with two hands. I'm guessing the answer is no, but that's his right now, his message that, man, if I had to come to Dukes with a backup person, I'd kick their ass. We'll talk about that next after headlines here on Xtra 106.3. Judge, thank you.
The legend Neil Bortz is only on Xtra 106.3. Hey, it's the camera. How's it going? Here's what you missed from the Talkmaster.
I admire most of what Donald Trump is doing. I wish he'd slow down Elon Musk, not in what he's doing, but how he acts. I love what Elon Musk is doing. But, hey, guy, don't dance around with chainsaws. I'm not even allowed to own a chainsaw.
Catch Neil's commentary every day on Xtra 106.3 or listen anytime on the Xtra 106.3 app.
There's gun-free zones. There's, there's all kinds of zones, right? Free zones. I want a sneeze-free zone, and you can get that at Central Heating and Air Conditioning. I have it at home. Maybe you want it too. Central Heating and Air Conditioning wants you to know that this is the perfect time, the new season, start of spring, to ensure your home's comfort. Don't wait like most people do to get their HVAC serviced. Your home should be maintained twice a year. Front Office Lowe's does it. I do it. And Central Heating and Air Conditioning conducts that for both of us. Maintenance helps keep your system running at peak efficiency and extends the life of your equipment. So turn to your Atlanta Carrier experts for system maintenance. 770-GET-HEAT or centralheat.com. With Carrier products, you get a Carrier warranty, and that's Carrier peace of mind. Plus, with allergy season in that no sneeze zone, you can't do anything about it outside. I've been dealing with it for at least a week where I just sneeze randomly and a lot. So if you hear it here on Xtra, I'm sorry. I apologize ahead of time. But allergy season, the folks at Central can fix what ails your house and possibly your family's health with home ventilation, air quality products. They've got packages designed using variable speeds, fresh air ventilation, air purifiers, dehumidifiers, and air cleaners. All you need to do is pick up the phone. Call Chuck and his team at Central Heating and Air Conditioning. They've been servicing Atlanta since 1947. At Central, you're not just a number. You are a member of the family, just like you're a member of the Xtra family. 770-GET-HEAT or centralheat.com.
Experience luxury like never before behind the wheel of a brand new Cadillac from Jim Ellis Cadillac.
From the iconic Escalade to the innovative electric Lyriq, Jim Ellis Cadillac offers the models you know and love, along with the latest in luxury EVs.
And the buying experience just as luxurious as the Cadillac name itself. With great prices, a great selection, and a team of knowledgeable sales associates, you'll love shopping at their showroom conveniently located on Peachtree Boulevard, just inside the perimeter.
Prefer to shop from home? Visit JimEllisCadillac.com, where you can browse all the latest offers and even start or complete your entire purchase online with the Jim Ellis Expressway.
Want to try before you buy? Schedule an at-home test drive and enjoy the convenience of home vehicle delivery. Luxury is waiting. Experience it today at Jim Ellis Cadillac. Jim Ellis Cadillac, where you can always expect the best.
Hey, it's a Kimmer. Okay, you're driving along. Suddenly you hear that horrible sound of metal and crunching. It's an accident. Even if it's a little minor fender bender, man, that could be a nightmare. First, obviously, take care of yourself. But before you make a deal with an insurance company or anybody else, call David Van Sant with Van Sant Law. You know why? Because he used to work for the insurance company, so he knows how to get the right settlement and right away. Van Sant Law. Don't forget, if you don't get paid, they don't get paid. Protecting your interests. Insurance is great, but it's complicated. 855-GA-INJURY or vansantlaw.com.
Spring is here, and it's time to transform your outdoor living space into a beautiful oasis. At Stovall & Company, Wholesale Landscape Supply, we have what you need to make your landscape dreams a reality.
Stovall has been supplying the landscape industry for more than 75 years.
So check us out at StovallInc.com.
Stovall has it all.
At the Piedmont Bank, we're proud to be one of Georgia's largest community banks, focusing on serving businesses and the communities they serve. With headquarters right here in Metro Atlanta, our tailored banking expertise and solutions help meet the diverse needs of our customers so they have what it takes to grow, expand, and thrive. It's what elevates us above the rest. Find a location near you at Piedmont.bank and experience elevated banking for you and your business. The Piedmont Bank. Banking elevated. Member FDIC and Equal Housing Lender.
With New Year's resolutions, many of us will make a vow to eat healthier, and that's a good thing. But what about our beloved pets and their nutrition? Greetings, naturopathic Dr. Dennis Black here, and I'm on a mission to provide better nutrition for cats and dogs because truthfully, all pet food is dead food, which is why we created Rough Greens and Meow Greens in the first place. We bring their food back to life with live vitamins, minerals, probiotics, enzymes, omega oils, antioxidants, and so much more. All in a tasty formula that your dog and cat will love. You can improve your pet's coat, digestion, energy, and have less vet bills. Let 2025 bring a new year and a new pet. Get a Jumpstart trial bag, normally $20. Get a 100% discount with promo code RESOLUTION. You discover the shipping. Go to roughgreens.com, use promo code RESOLUTION. Bring your pet's food back to life with Rough Greens. So good, your pet will ask for it by name.
The stories that matter to you. These are your Georgia headlines.
Here are your headlines for Wednesday, March 19th. A religious freedom bill is moving through the Georgia General Assembly and stirring up controversy. The bill aims to allow Georgians to exercise their religious faith without federal, state, and local government intrusion. Critics of the bill claim it could be used to discriminate against minorities without an anti-discrimination clause. Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene is calling on the heads of NPR and PBS at an upcoming DOJ congressional hearing next week. Greene is asking the CEOs to justify their need to be funded by taxpayer dollars and to explain bias in their reporting. Cobb County's Town Center Mall narrowly avoided an auction sale after the owners paid nearly $1 million in overdue property taxes. This follows a power outage in January due to unpaid bills. Today's weather: morning showers are moving through the metro area, and it'll be cooler this afternoon in the high 40s. Tomorrow will be warmer and sunny with a high of 68. With your headlines, I'm Jerry Payne.
Tim Walls, the guy that waves with two hands, and much like you, I don't know any dudes that wave with two hands. Zero dudes that wave with two hands. He was talking to Gavin Newsom on his podcast, and they were talking about how they're saying that he wasn't manly enough. And I stand by that. This guy was in the military, doesn't know how to load a shotgun. This guy was in the military, and he behaves different than anybody that I was ever in the military with, served with. He's a guy that was a coach in high school athletics, high school football, and doesn't understand the football lingo. He just had no concept of it, no idea.
We run the mean pick six.
Exactly right.
I even was trying to remember. It's like AOC runs a mean pick six.
Yeah.
That's not a play, sir.
If I were to ask my wife that question, hey, is the pick six a play? She'd be like, no,
what? That's when somebody picks off a play.
I mean, the only thing he's missing is saying, I kicked a touchdown.
Yeah, exactly. Out in left field with a football bat. But he wants you to know that though he's strange, though he's a tick weird, he could still kick your ass.
How do you fight it? This I think I could kick most of their ass. I do think that if they want to do it. I know I can run them, but I don't know if we're going to fall into that place where we want to. Okay, we challenge you to a WWE fight here type of thing.
Who says that? Like who uses that as their go-to? I could kick their ass. I mean, that's like the most redneck, backwoods.
And then to go straight to professional wrestling, which everybody knows. Yes, it's dangerous. Yes, it's impressive and athletic, all of that.
It's scripted.
Exactly.
But that's his example. That's a great point. This is a guy that we could have had him as the vice president. Not a guy that is well-educated, has battled through things, articulate, and will be the next president of the United States. When Donald Trump is done, I bet J.D. Vance, not only will he be the nominee, will be elected too, because we're going to get tired of winning, Trump says, and I've not gotten there yet, so I want to win more with J.D. Vance. We almost had this man that is talking about how he could kick Trump supporters' ass as the vice president.
The Cat Lady Party, they knew they had a problem going back into the summer. Once you had Kamala Harris, who was going to be installed, it wasn't like she won any kind of vote. And last time around, she didn't get anything. This time, she was installed to be the person. They recognized we have a problem with men. They thought that they were going to have suburban women and women in general on lockdown, which it turns out they didn't. They did not. She was not likable enough, and likability is a skill. She didn't have it. But their answer to we have a problem with men was to go get the most limp-wristed lady man in all of politics. Like, the only thing that he was missing is a limp-wristed fighting style.
But if you look at him on paper, he could be...
Oh, on paper, you would say,
he's the guy.
Military man, he worked as a coach.
He's the guy.
And then he starts talking.
Much like everything else, they only get it to write it down on paper. They never tested it. They never went and talked to him to see where he actually stood on things.
Shane Gillis had it nailed when it was during Protect Our Parks. It's a Joe Rogan podcast. And it's him and 3 other comedians typically. And they were talking about, all right, Tim Walz ended up when his men were facing deployment, he took early retirement. That was been said by a number of different military officials. That's rare to do when your men are deploying.
Oh my gosh.
Like you go with your men on deployment.
That's low down.
He talked about carrying weapons of war in a war zone. He'd never been to a war zone. He was doing that in Italy. So he already started down this road. Shane Gillis' problem was you tried to pretend you were a football coach.
Yeah, that's for regular dudes.
For regular dudes, as much as, again, I work with 2 guys who signed the paper to go work in the Navy and in the Air Force. When you sign the paper, you've made a commitment to this stuff. They're bothered by these things. Me, as somebody who never signed the paper, yes, I'm bothered by it, but I also am like, man, don't pretend to be a football coach when you were just an assistant. You weren't no head coach.
But for me, as a guy that served in the Navy for 4 years, like I goof about it all the time. My biggest experience was scrubbing toilets. You know what I mean? I went to the Persian Gulf. It was relative peacetime. I got to see the world. I am grateful for the Navy. And had I not met my wife, I would have done 20 years. I loved it. Loved the Navy. But there's not one moment in ever that you will hear me talking about being in war, doing any of those. There were so many guys that did so much more than I did. Am I proud of my 4 years? You damn right I am. Would I do it again? Absolutely I would. But I didn't do anything extraordinary. I'm proud that I served, but I didn't do anything that I feel like I need to brag about except cleaning toilets.
And that man and Tim Walz decided to tell you about things that he did that he didn't actually do.
A weapon of war. This dude couldn't load a shotgun.
I carried a weapon of war in a war zone. Yes, when he went, they tried to put... This is how you know they had such a problem. They tried to have him play Madden with AOC, and they tried to have him go, I guess it was dove hunting. Regardless, he's carrying a shotgun, and this isn't a break-it-down shotgun. This is a typical 12-gauge, load from underneath, and the dude looked like he was holding on to like some sort of weapon from space.
I got this Jetsons gun.
It's like, what is this thing? How does it load? How do I carry it?
That's right.
Like, I remember my first shotgun I ever went hunting with was a single shot 410. And that was what I had. It was a single shot 410, graduated to the 20 gauge before we got to the 12 gauge. And weapon safety and all the work and loading and unloading and cleaning, that was all part of me growing up. To then see this vice president person who's trying to run for the office, they're trying to tell me he's a manly man, and I'm seeing what he's doing. Like, the only thing more funny, so there's a guy his name is I'm going to just put it out there. His name's Scott Shapiro. He's now a bigwig within all of radio.
Oh,
Scotty Shapiro, he worked as a producer back 20 years ago in Atlanta. And him and I, he's a friend. We went out to Barnsley Gardens. We signed up for their skeet shooting. And Scott Shapiro, I don't believe had ever handled a weapon before. When they handed him the 12-gauge shotgun, he actually took the stock and he put it on top of his shoulder.
No, he did not.
Like he was going to shoot a bazooka.
No, he didn't.
Yes, he did.
No, he didn't. I don't believe that.
So that's the only person.
I refuse to believe that.
He did. It's the only person I've ever seen in my entire life who looked less manly with a gun than Tim Walz.
That's unreal, man.
I was like, brother, that stock goes right here.
I've been hunting a few times. I know. Yeah, I mean, that's
he
the
put
thing.
it on top of his shoulder.
Like, I went hunting as a kid, too. I haven't been hunting in years, so I don't try to pretend that I know everything about field dressing deer or any of that stuff.
Oh, no, we got to go to the taxidermist.
Yeah, I know plenty of people that do. Joey Jones, our buddy that works at Fox News Channel, he's a dove hunter, he's a deer hunter, he's a wild hog, he does it all.
Joey decides what meat he's taking out of the area.
That's exactly
like,
right.
Well, I'm going to leave some of this behind. I'm packing the rest of it, taking it out of here.
A bunch of the guys I grew up with, that's what they do. And when they saw Tim Walz, I know their eyes rolled so far back in their head that it's like they had won a slot machine jackpot in Las Vegas.
So when he tells you, I can kick your butt,
don't believe it.
The
he
giant
waves with two
eye
hands.
rolls.
He waves with two hands.
What, are you going to remove your white glove and slap me in the face with it?
Dude.
Come on, man.
Just do this as a test. Man, woman, whoever you are, doesn't matter. Wave with two hands. And think about your father doing that or your grandfather doing that. Maybe your uncle, maybe your favorite uncle doing that. I don't know.
If his husband will allow him to.
That's right.
First thing you're going to think of.
That's right.
There's no man that waves at people with
nobody
unless you score a touchdown at the University of Georgia.
And that was a goof.
And that was like a jazz hands fun thing to do.
It was being goofy. It was being silly. It was never going, look how manly I am. I just scored on Oklahoma. It wasn't that. Yet Tim Walz, man, he's out every place he went. Dude, I've never seen cheerleaders wave with two hands more than he did.
I think one of the funny lines that I saw that if it was a leg kicking contest, that he would do well because he'd kick his legs out.
Yeah.
He'd always kick his legs out when he was walking around. He'd wave with two hands. He'd kick his leg like, oh, hey.
Elaine from Seinfeld. Yeah. Little kicks.
When you look at Tim Walz, immediately it's instinctual. You go, that's not what I would do. That's unusual behavior for like my friend group. The dudes that I hang out with, they would never do that. So it was like a spotlight being put on him. They couldn't hide him.
It was very true. We dodged a bullet there. Because had you gone, now they wouldn't have ever gone Josh Shapiro, but it would have given him a better chance in Pennsylvania as a governor who's already won the state.
And seemingly well liked.
And what goes on, though, is that the Democrats went, far too Jewish. And that was on you, Josh Shapiro. I'm sorry you couldn't do anything about it. Your party rejected you because you're Jewish. You'll be better off next time. Mark Kelly was the word around what the Obamas were trying to push.
He's another, though, that has lost his way.
But at least it wouldn't have been. No,
you're right.
At least it would have been, here's a dude who's been an astronaut.
No, that's right.
And again, it doesn't matter what comes out of their mouth. So much of this was the optics.
Yes, it was.
The
You're right.
optics of how bad you look when you hold a shotgun or you wave at people.
That's right. That would have been a much better pick.
Hey!
Yeah.
I'm sorry, the astronaut is not doing with two hands, everybody.
But I'm so disappointed in him, man. And I know this is taking it in a different direction.
Politics.
I know, and it just drives me up the wall because he doesn't represent what astronauts and military members and all that represent. He doesn't.
But Walz, neither does Walz.
No, definitely not. He would have better represented it.
But it's just what it looked like on the surface. And let's face it, that does matter. That in the era of television, that has mattered as much in politics as anything else. Why do we have such a hard time? Have we yet to have somebody we've elected that's morbidly obese to be president?
Nope.
Donald Trump is 6'4", and he ain't in the best shape, but he's not morbidly obese.
He's still a dude.
Still
Andy's
looks like
a dude.
Still looks like a grandpa dude.
He can get around. He's relatable.
But you have a hard time optically trying to tell me that, for instance, if you happen to be
Chris Christie or something.
Like Chris Christie's like a man of tremendous size, and when he busted on the scene as a governor, he's going places. And then you recognize that you can't be elected nationally when you're that big. It doesn't work. Not in the era of television.
There's the optics, but then there's just is that dude going to make it? Like, am I going to elect a dude that's going to die because he didn't take care of himself? I don't want somebody that's going to die telling me every move to make, that's going to be the commander-in-chief of our military, but can't get out and do a mile walk.
But that's always been the aspect of personal discipline.
No, that's right. That's what I mean.
Like, it's really hard, in my opinion, to be a football coach or a leader of men and to be slovenly, because you're asking for a level of discipline that you yourself do not have.
Possess.
Well, that's why Andy Reid is such a tremendous NFL coach.
Yeah.
Because Andy Reid hasn't been in shape since probably the early 90s, and yet he's won in a big way, and they never look at him and be like, well, you're asking us to do this, and you can't take care of yourself, Andy. Same thing with Bill Parcells. It's always been.
They proved themselves before, though.
But look at NFL coaches and how they look.
Yeah.
They're normally presentable because you want to be presentable when you're asking for discipline. I think it's hard to command people when you're slovenly. And again, just from an optics, the minute that Walls was doing what he was doing, I'm like, you lost.
Yeah, TV is a powerful medium. Video is a powerful medium. And he did not pass the sniff test for one man. So when he says he could kick your ass, you know that he can't. Nobody's intimidated.
I'm just going to look it up for old time's sake. Tim Walls waving.
Double wave.
Look,
Double wave. Oh, and then the claps. I forgot about the claps. He's doing the claps and throwing the hand. He looks like you're talking about Spartan cheerleaders. Remember the skit from Saturday Night Live, the Spartan cheerleaders, Will Ferrell and Sherry O'Terry?
Yes.
That when he came out on that stage right there, he looked like one of the Spartan cheerleaders. It was that kind of performance.
Yeah.
That's and he continually did it. And he'd do the finger points. Oh, man.
Double hand waves.
Yeah.
Wave. Look, I'm pointing at you.
Way.
Double wave.
Not one dude saw that and was like, that's what regular dudes around me do.
Babylon B. Oh, no. Tim Walls just waved so hard his arms flew off. That was from September.
Exactly. Happened all the time.
Morning Extra. Extra 106.3, Tug and Los until 10. The clear difference in what's happening to Tesla versus what happened to Bud Light. That's the discussion next on Extra 106.3. The 6 o'clock hour is brought to you by Subaru of Gwinnett.
The latest sports news, powered by 680 The Fan, and driven to extra listeners by RBM of Atlanta in Sandy Springs, Atlanta's Mercedes-Benz connection since 1964.
Good morning. Here are your sports headlines for Thursday, March 20th. The Field of 64 gets underway this afternoon, this unofficial American holiday, as the men's college basketball tournament will begin. We'll start with 9th-ranked Creighton and 8th-ranked Louisville. That'll get action underway in the South region at 12:10. 13-seeded High Point will play 4th-seeded Purdue in the Midwest region. That's a 12:40 tip-off. The final game of this opening couple of hours will be in the East region as 14th-ranked Montana plays 3rd-ranked Wisconsin. That is the 1:30 tip-off. From Northport, Braves spring training continues for one more week before the start of the regular season. The Braves host the Philadelphia Phillies today at 1:05. You can hear that game on our sister station's app, the all-new 680 The Fan. With your sports headlines, I'm Carlos Medina.
Don't miss the Braves opening homestand at Truist Park, April 4th through the 10th, when the Marlins and Phillies come to town. Fans can enjoy the first gate giveaway this season, featuring the Chris Sales Cy Young bobblehead presented by Delta on April 9th.
2-2. Goodbye. It is a 1-2-3 shutdown inning for Chris Sale.
Make sure to grab your bobblehead and get to your seats as the Braves will celebrate Sale's 2024 accomplishments with an on-field ceremony before the game. Visit Braves.com/promos to purchase your tickets. Atlanta Braves Baseball. We are Braves country.
The Ford Truck Month Blowout Sale at Jim Ellis Ford Sandy Springs is here, and there's never been a better time to drive home a 2024 Ford F-150 from Jim Ellis Ford Sandy Springs.
Right now, save up to $15,000 off MSRP on select models. So much power, so many possibilities. Whether you need a tough workhorse or a truck loaded with luxury and tech, the F-150 is built to handle it all.
With so many F-150s to choose from and an easy buying process, Jim Ellis Ford Sandy Springs makes finding your perfect truck simple and hassle-free.
Just 4 miles north of 285 on Roswell Road. Jim Ellis Ford Sandy Springs. It's one of the largest selections of new and used Fords in Atlanta.
From rugged Broncos to family-friendly Explorers and America's best-selling trucks, your next Ford is waiting.
Visit JimEllisFord.com or stop by today.
Jim Ellis Ford Sandy Springs, where you can always expect the best.
2024 Ford F-150 XLT. Example stock number F12762L. MSRP is $59,995. After Jim Ellis discounts, final sale price is only $44,145. Just add TABT and state fees. Offer expires March 31st, 2025.
You know the old expression, I love it when a plan comes together? Well, with our First Liberty Notes, this has been so true. Hello, I'm Brant Frost, founder of First Liberty Building and Loan. You hear about our family's company all the time right here on the station. For over 30 years, we've been the local lender who said yes when the big banks say no. A couple of months ago, we opened up our First Liberty Notes program to Main Street investors just like you, and the response has been just incredible. Folks from airline pilots to physicians to even pastors are now earning 8 to 13% interest rates while helping to fuel the growth of local small businesses. If you're a qualified investor with a minimum of $25,000, you too could be earning 8 to 13% interest. We'd love to have you join our First Liberty family today. Go to FirstLibertyGA.com and see if our First Liberty Notes are right for you. Go to FirstLibertyGA.com. That's FirstLibertyGA.com.
First Liberty Notes are not obligations of or guaranteed by any financial institution and are not secured by any collateral. They are not FDIC insured or guaranteed by any government agency. You could lose money. SEC accredited investor status must be verified. Securities not offered in any jurisdiction in which it is unlawful.
Hi, I'm Chris Lalamia, owner of the Trusted Toolbox. Are home repairs piling up? Are you feeling overwhelmed? Relax. We've got you covered. From drywall dings and leaky faucets to deck repairs and trim replacement, we're your one-stop shop for everything for your home needs. No more juggling multiple contractors. Just call us at the Trusted Toolbox and we'll handle it. Your home deserves the best, and we don't want you breaking your back trying. Call the Trusted Toolbox today at 770-623-3097 or visit us at thetrustedtoolbox.com. The Trusted Toolbox, your one-stop shop for home repairs and more.
You've likely heard about Relief Factor and how so many people enjoy a better, more pain-free life because of it. If you're dealing with everyday pain, it makes sense you'd want to try it first. Well, Relief Factor makes that pretty pain-free too, with their 3-week quick start for just $19.95. An easy, affordable way to see how it could literally change your life. Relief Factor is a daily supplement that fights pain naturally, developed by doctors. Relief Factor doesn't just mask pain temporarily, it helps reduce or eliminate pain. In fact, the longer you take it, the more effective it is. Trying it couldn't be easier with their 3-week quick start for only $19.95. That's less than $1 a day. And it just takes a phone call. 1-800-4-RELIEF. That's 1-800-4-RELIEF. Wherever you're having pain, every day you feel better is a day you live better. Try Relief Factor's 3-week quick start today. Visit ReliefFactor.com or call 1-800-4-RELIEF. That's 1-800-4-RELIEF.
Amazon Business offers smart business buying solutions, so you can spend more time growing your business and less time doing the admin. Learn more at AmazonBusiness.com.
The legend Neil Bortz is only on Extra 106.3 with daily commentary you'll hear throughout the day. And he's on live with the Morning Extra every Tuesday morning at 7:30. Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station, Extra 106.3. And catch all of Neil's commentary on the Extra app.
Tug and Los until 10. I want to tell you about a big announcement at Atlanta Safe House. They're doing their annual tent sale. It starts today. Truckloads of savings, rebates up to $400, and sales tax-free on all gun safes, scratch and dents. They've got all that stuff. Go check out the biggest selection in the Southeast. And Kimmer will be broadcasting his show, The Kimmer Show, Friday, tomorrow, from 3 until 6, Atlanta Safe House, which is 4435 Ackworth Industrial Drive Northwest. And you can find them online at atlantasafehouse.com, atlantasafehouse.com. Kimmer Show there tomorrow. Go hang out with Kimmer from 3 until 6.
And did you hear about the stunt that he's doing?
That Kimmer's doing?
Yeah, they have a giant dunk tank, and Kimmer is actually going to get restrained, put into a safe, and then dropped in there. And he's got about, I think it's 90 seconds to get out before things could go badly.
Like Houdini?
Yes.
He's doing like magic tricks?
Exactly.
That's fantastic. I
Kimberdini.
I almost want to drive home from South Carolina just to see that. I mean, that's a good reason to go over there.
He might get out. I don't know. We'll see.
It depends on, can you blast your way out? Because he will be strapped.
No, of course, but I don't know if he's going to be able to get to it with restraints. But again, Kimmer can do a lot of cool stuff.
Yeah, he's an amazing. Look, Marines are unbelievable. Marines are able to do things that other people in the military can't. They're a special unit. They do the work that men do. So if anybody could get out of it there at Atlanta Safe House, I feel like Kimmer is he might be the guy.
Good luck, Kimmer.
Yeah, dude. I hope he don't die. I mean, that's look at my fingers crossed. I just don't want to see that. Would be. Do you know how sad it would be around Extra 106.3 without the Kimmer and the joy that he brings?
Oh, extremely sad.
It'd be terrible.
But if he was to go out, I mean, he's already told me and a handful of other people he wants to go out drowning in a dunk tank in a safe that he's trying to escape from.
He's thought about this. That's
He
impressive.
told me.
Yeah, look, that's something.
He said he wants to go out doing what he loves.
Getting in dunk
Magic tricks.
Do you think, well, like Evel Knievel when he used to try to, jump over the Grand Canyon, do you think they really believe that they can do these things? Because I always, even if I'm 99% positive about something, I always have that 1% of doubt. That I'm like, all right, let me make sure. Let me be positive about this. If you're Evel Knievel trying to jump over the Grand Canyon, you need to know that you can do it, or whatever his tricks were. And obviously, Kimmer's thought about this. I mean, you sit down and you're like, okay, here's what I want to do. I want to get into a safe. I want to be restrained into a safe in the dunk tank. I think I can get out of this. I don't have that. I don't have that level of confidence that is needed to be a person that pulls off stunts like this.
Oh, no, you do. Everybody does. Like, for instance, Tug, at some point last night, your wife said, no more bourbon, and you said, one more. Because you wanted to push yourself to see what kind of limits you really have. Some people do it with bourbon. Some people do it with basketball. Some people do it when it comes to being in a dunk tank in a safe.
Can I tell you an embarrassing
Test your
story?
limits.
Dude, can I tell you an embarrassing story about something similar to that before we get to the fact that there's a difference in Bud Light and what happened to them in Tesla? Because it should be clear to everybody, I think. But for some reason, the Democrats, the left, don't see it. This is so embarrassing. I can't believe I'm admitting this. It was last weekend before. I was brushing my teeth and I remember I texted you. You were at the volleyball, and I was like, man, things are getting sideways. I've had too many glasses of wine.
Sure.
And we were just at home, and we had dinner. My wife's sister came over. It was fun times for everybody. We're just hanging out and having dinner, and for whatever reason, I was putting back a few. I dropped my toothbrush in the toilet.
Oh,
dude,
that one's gotta go.
Dude, that's bad news right there. That's when you talk about the one more bourbon. That's what happens. And I was not in a mindset that I could help myself. And my wife had to come in and fish it out of the toilet.
Oh, it's gross.
Dude, is that the grossest thing that's ever happened? I'm surprised that I admitted it, but it's the truth.
I mean, the only thing grosser would be that if you walked around Walmart shoeless and then suddenly stuck your foot in your mouth. It's the only thing grosser.
Is it Shoeless Thursday?
Not right now, but it will be.
Yeah, that's right. That's the thing. At Extra, Los has this, and I don't know. There's no rhyme or reason to which day is shoeless. But
take your shoes off, walk around.
Just take your shoes, and things get better. The difference in what happened to Bud Light is Bud Light made a decision to promote a man who obviously fashions himself as a woman. Doesn't make it a fact, but people just stopped drinking Bud Light. That was the difference. And like Ben and Jerry's, they're a very political company, and when they said they were anti-Israel and basically we're against the Israelis, I said no more. We're not buying that. We didn't go set anything on fire. We didn't go to Cartersville to set the Bud Light building on fire. None of that stuff. That's the big difference, and it should be so obvious.
We are not the same, and we cannot coexist. All you can do is take your crazy communist friend and put him in a box and basically say, do not come out for 4 years. And if you do, I'm going to kick your ass. Because when we did have that moment where we decided, well, that doesn't represent me and remember, this whole Dylan Mulvaney thing started with, we're going to launch a special Bud Light can. It's a promotional item. It'll be in conjunction with the men's college basketball tournament. It was this time of year. They actually thought, let's use a man who's gay pretending to be a woman who's really, really playing a caricature. Let's use that to market. Okay, that did not work out. But I don't recall that we then showed up to any Bud Light plants and burned them down or attacked them or went after Bud Light employees or did anything to their trucks on the road. That's what the communist does. They're animals, and we need to treat them as such. If you have an animal friend, and they've been considering, keying cars or domestic terrorism or anything else, what you need to do is you need to quietly lure them into some area and then basically say, oh, you attacked me, I got to shoot you. Okay, like that. It's rabid dogs, man. Yeah. There are such things as rabid dogs, and what do you do with a rabid dog? You put it down.
Put it down.
Ask
Christy Noem; she'll tell you.
These are who these people are, Tug. And until we can have this discussion, when you watch what they're doing, you can't fix rabid dogs. You can't fix these people.
I don't understand. I really don't, because I've never had the desire to attack anyone. I've never had the desire to go, I've never had the desire to go protest. There's things that I believe in and things that I don't. And I'm staunchly pro-life, but I've never been to the March for Life. I've never went down, and maybe shame on me. So, it's fine. I'm not saying that people shouldn't go protest, but I've just never had that desire to.
Okay, let me ask you this question. Has there ever been a point where you supported, like, for instance, Target not going to shop there?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so that was what you reached for. The first thing they reach for in 50-some days is a Molotov cocktail. How much further do you think they're going to go?
Yeah, this is just the front half. Can you imagine what's to come?
This is just the first round here, man. I'm like, this is how violent these people have become. Remember, it took at the end of 4 years last time around for them to want to burn down American cities. We're 56 days in, and they're trying to burn stuff down. What do you think's going to happen when we give them another 6 months? There will be Republican politicians that will get killed over this stuff.
Dude, they've already proven
will happen.
Steve Scalise, they've already proven that they will take shots. Donald Trump, they've already proven they'll take shots. It's a scary thought, and maybe I think most people are like, I don't want to think about that, but you have to.
Well, it's unfortunate that you can't have a situation where somebody rolls up on a Tesla dealership with Molotov cocktails and start throwing them. It's unfortunate you can't shoot that person.
Well,
and they know that. That's why they feel okay about it.
Right, exactly. But the crazy part is they feel comfortable. The protesters feel comfortable shooting into a building. They don't know that there's not an overnight security guy there, because it's been happening when they're shooting into the Tesla dealerships. They don't know there's not an overnight security guard that is in there. That's what I'm saying. They feel so empowered and so comfortable shooting into dealerships and having no repercussions. That's the part that we have to really wrap our head around. What are we going to do when something, the worst of the worst, happens? How are we going to react to that?
You and I decided not to buy a particular beer. They're shooting in to Tesla dealerships.
That's the difference in conservatives and liberals right there. The emotional state, the decision making. We don't drink it. We don't buy it. They react in extreme emotion and violently. It's unbelievable, really is. When we continue on Extra 106.3, James Carville has an ominous warning for the Democrat Party, the DNC. We'll talk about that after the Fox News update on Extra 106.3.
The legend Neil Bortz is only on Extra 106.3. Hey, it's the camera. How's it going? Here's what you missed from the Talkmaster.
I admire most of what Donald Trump is doing. I wish he'd slow down Elon Musk, not in what he's doing, but how he acts. I love what Elon Musk is doing. But, hey, guy, don't dance around with chainsaws. I'm not even allowed to own a chainsaw.
Catch Neil's commentary every day on Extra 106.3 or listen anytime on the Extra 106.3 app.
Join A Second Chance Bail Bond CEO Daniel Madelon and host Tug Coward for the weekly radio show Back Your Blue. They will highlight special initiatives, criminal justice programs, and community events aimed at keeping our communities safer. Tune in Saturdays at 10 a.m. to learn some good news about and from the law enforcement and justice communities. This week's guest is Gwinnett Sheriff Kibo Taylor. Tune in on Saturdays or catch up on all past episodes wherever you get your podcasts or at thepodcastpark.com.
No one plans on going to jail, but when it happens, it's important that you know who to call. Call A Second Chance Bail Bonds, where we believe everyone deserves a second chance. Whether your loved one's been arrested in Cherokee, Clayton, or any of the other metro Atlanta counties in between, A Second Chance Bail Bonds works fast to help expedite release within hours. A Second Chance. It's better to know us and not need us than need us and not know us. Call A Second Chance 24/7 at 404-BAIL-OUT or online at atlbail.com.
Hey there, I'm Tara, owner and publisher of Our Town Monthly, Cobb's premier lifestyle magazine.
And I'm Josh Brooks with Southern Rodeo Company. We've teamed up with Vice Rodeo Productions to bring an exciting first-in-class rodeo to Cobb.
This family-friendly event has it all: food, games, novelties, and shopping. Cheer on the athletes of the International Professional Rodeo Association and witness some of the best bucking horses and bulls in the industry.
Join us for a fun, fast-paced, action-packed event featuring top cowboys and cowgirls from the United States and Canada. With paved parking, indoor restrooms, and covered seating, it's a great experience for everyone. The rodeo will be held at Jim R. Miller Park on April 4th and 5th. Get your tickets online at rodeotickets.com. Buy early. It's going to be a sold-out crowd.
Thanks, Josh. We appreciate Cobb County Pro Rodeo for choosing Our Town Monthly to promote the rodeo, and we look forward to seeing you there. And remember, our town is your town. Our Town Monthly.
Hey, Georgia neighbors, it's time to expect more from your Medicare Advantage. Discover Sonder Health's custom plans tailored just for Georgians. Saunders offers unique benefits, including special plans for those living with chronic conditions. Some plans even come with grocery or gas benefits to support your overall well-being. Sonder Health makes it easy to get the coverage you need. See for yourself what today's Medicare Advantage can do for you. Visit SonderHealthPlans.com, a healthier state of life. Sonder Health Plans is an HMO and PPO with Medicare contracts. Enrollment in Sonder Health Plans depends on contract renewal.
Accomplishing goals is hard, but when your goal is to learn a new language, Babbel makes it easy. Babbel is designed with you in mind. From expert-created lessons to conversational video units and even live classes, you can personalize your Babbel experience to be exactly what you need to really learn a new language more easily. Go ahead, set a goal for yourself. Accomplish it with Babbel. Try Babbel for free. Go to BABBEL.com. That's Babbel.com.
WFOM and W292EV Marietta, a Dickey Broadcasting Station. This hour is presented by Van Sant Law, VanSantLaw.com.
Chris Foster, Fox News. President Trump's expected to sign an executive order today directing Education Secretary Linda McMahon to break up her department.
White House Deputy Press Secretary Harrison Field says, quote, President Trump's executive order to expand educational opportunities will empower parents, states, and communities to take control and improve outcomes for all students. This is something the president campaigned on, of course, saying the department was full of, quote, radical zealots and Marxists. Under Article 2 of the Constitution, Congress will need to sign off on abolishing the Department of Education, which was established in 1979.
Fox's Lucas Tomlinson. At least 70 Palestinians are reported killed in Israeli airstrikes across Gaza today, where Israeli troops are back on the ground.
Ground forces have moved back into the Netzarim corridor, the roadway that splits the Gaza Strip down the middle. The IDF says that strikes this week have killed a Hamas leader in charge of security affairs. The military also claims that there's a high probability these strikes killed the Hamas head of internal security forces, the Minister of Justice, and the Minister of Internal Affairs.
Fox's Alex Hogan. An Indian citizen teaching at Georgetown University in D.C. is detained for deportation, accused of spreading Hamas propaganda and promoting anti-Semitism on social media. The Greenpeace environmental activist group is ordered to pay $660 million to the owner of the Dakota Access Pipeline over protests in 2017.
Demonstrators clashed with police over a oil pipeline under the Missouri River. Greenpeace, according to the pipeline's lawsuit, orchestrated a campaign to stop construction, providing intelligence, training, tents, tools, and lockboxes that protesters used to chain themselves to equipment, leading to some 700 arrests. Now, the company, Energy Transfer, claims Greenpeace also defamed it, causing banks to divest, costing it some $300 million in damages.
Fox's William Lejeunesse. America's listening to Fox News.
Are you having trouble hearing? Hearing loss can devastate the quality of your life. Now, there's an affordable fix for you or your loved one. Rated the best hearing aids of 2025 by Forbes Health, Audion Hearing has the highest quality hearing aids at the lowest prices, just $189.
I actually like them better than my old $5,000 hearing aids.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed.
Join over 1 million happy customers by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
Only two things in life are certain: death and taxes. How about one more? Switch from Verizon, AT&T, or T-Mobile to cut your bill in half with Pure Talk. For just $25 a month, get unlimited talk, text, and 5 gigs of data on America's most dependable 5G network. Switching is easy. Dial pound 250 and say keyword Pure Talk to make the switch, and you'll save an additional 50% off your first month. Pure Talk. Wireless by Americans for Americans.
Support conservative conversation on the radio in Atlanta by emailing us at sales@xtra1063.com.
And support those companies that support your values. We were talking about this in that last segment. The companies that, that don't support your values, we don't support. When Bud Light did what it did, people just stopped drinking it. They didn't go burn down the Cartersville facility or anything. They just stopped drinking it. So the exact opposite is at play here on Extra 106.3 in the Morning Extra, Tug and Los until 10, is that when you hear people advertising, specifically in the morning show and the afternoon show, those local companies that support your values, give them the first shot to earn your business. Don't buy anything you don't need. Don't, we don't want you to, if you don't need a new roof, don't call Southern Exteriors until you do. But when you do, give them the first opportunity to earn your business. That's all we ask for consuming the content that is created and provided here on Extra 106.3. So basketball day, huge day for everybody. Starting at noon, nobody's getting any work done. Bosses probably don't like that, but there's probably a bunch of them that are participating in it as well, though they know they don't like it. It's going to be fun to watch basketball starting around noon, and offices just continue to empty out. Big. Los brought it up last hour. 2 least productive days in America. You would think before Christmas? Nope. You would think before Thanksgiving? Nope. Maybe even the day after the Super Bowl. I would imagine, Los, that probably has to be the next least productive day is the day after the Super Bowl.
Yeah, Monday morning after the Super Bowl probably has to rank up there, but just because of it's the amount of games.
Yeah.
It's the noon start that runs all the way. Your final start is at 10:10 tonight. So no matter if you're East Coast or West Coast, there's games over the entirety of the day. That is why there's so much of a drop in productivity around the country during this tournament.
Yeah, I tell you, on the West Coast, man, you said last hour, and appropriately, folks will work up until lunch. But if you're on the West Coast watching that first game at 9 a.m., you get to the office and immediately just turn it off. You don't do it. And by turn it off, I mean turning your work and your responsibilities off and start watching at 9 a.m. That's actually a pretty good gig.
This is from Fox Business, who had a story on this as of just 4 days ago. March Madness is going to cause the U.S. economy to lose approximately $20 billion in lost productivity.
Now, we've chided Tim Walz for praising the falling stocks with Tesla, because the people in Minnesota, the state that he represents, their pensions are tied to Tesla stock, so it makes no sense for him to pull against it, because that means he's pulling against his own people. But he's dumb enough to do that, and he waves 2 hands.
Yeah, he's an idiot.
We, on the other hand, we're guilty a little bit because we're celebrating not being productive for 2 days.
It's just what it is. Everybody recognizes this. At least we can put a dollar value on it. What happens is everyone knows, and so everyone plans accordingly.
Yeah, indeed. James Carville is a guy that some people say looks like Skeletor. I mean, he's
getting there.
He does. He just looks unusual lately. I don't know what it is. And he's always been angry, but I could always tolerate him. Lately, he's been more angry than maybe most of the time that he is. But that's the problem. Democrats are emotional, and they're like caged animals backed into a corner right now. They've been beaten so badly, so severely at the ballot box that they don't know what to do. And James Carville's got this ominous warning for the Democrat Party. I want you to listen to it. Listen.
I'm mad at the Democratic Party. I mean, you see, when you lose an election, a party exists for one reason and one reason only, and that is to win the election. We lost. But there's nothing permanent about this. I remind people Wisconsin Supreme Court is coming up. We got a huge Virginia governor's race. They have legislative challenges, and I do think that Senator Schumer is right. I think he and Rita Jeffers do have a plan in place. And look, if this is not evident here in the next 3 or 4 months, then there will be a uprising within the Democratic Party. But I think we should give them a chance to let's see what their plan and their strategy is.
I find it interesting that he says there's a pending uprising. I would say it's already there.
No, it's here.
Yeah, there's nobody waiting on decisions that Schumer or Jeffries are making. They are fed up with it. They are, again, I'll use the analogy again. They've been beaten. They're back in the corner, and they're lashing out, and you see it every day. And not just the politicians. I'm talking about the actual voters. That's the reason you're seeing these violent actions against Tesla, the violent actions against anybody and everybody. You see it on the street. They're just angry. And I don't care what Schumer or Jeffries says. Jeffries told them, don't make a fool of yourself at the speech to the joint session of Congress. What did they do? Exactly opposite. They're not waiting for some sort of magical messaging.
My 10-year-old did something last night, and I think it's part of what's happening to James Carville. She joked around with my wife about being an old lady, and before she went upstairs, she asked us what it was like to be around the dinosaurs and then to survive the meteor strike. And so we got a laugh out of it, and all right, cool. That's the way that our 10-year-old now looks at us. That is how the Democrat Party looks at James Carville. And for a guy who bled and led and was able to get a hillbilly from Arkansas into the White House, does he not sit back and say, listen, I've done a whole hell of a lot more than the rest of y'all. Y'all should pay attention. Yet they're treating him as old man, dinosaurs, survived the meteor. It happens to all of them. What's going to be interesting about all of this is what comes next, because I'm with you. There is an uprising, and it's going to be about the next round of leadership for the Democrat Party. What we have seen is that they're getting more violent, they're getting more active, and they're more destructive towards the idea of the American way.
Pushing further and harder to the left every day that goes by, and that should be alarming to anybody that sees it happening, because that's what we're up against. You just have to be aware of what you're dealing with. You can't take a knife to a gunfight. Maybe that's a bad example and a bad time to use it with everything that's happening. But I feel like that there is no course forward. So it's like, when you kick over an anthill, that's what the Democrat Party looks like to me right now.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. It's a scramble mode. It's everything going crazy. There is no rhyme or reason to it. There's no orchestration to it. They're going to find out who they are on the other side of all this stuff. And what I believe is going to emerge is something that is more communist and more dangerous to the rest of America.
For the DNC, but I still believe that there will be a third party that peels off. Will they be successful? I have no idea. Will anybody listen to them? Don't know. But I feel like, and you saw John Morgan from, I think he lives in Orlando, but Morgan & Morgan, they're the big nationwide accident injury attorneys or whatever. He said he's going to start his own party, and it was not going to be the No Labels party. It's going to be something completely different. So you see that kernel of things happening. Will it be successful? Who knows? But to your point about them.
But Tug, here's the thing. You're not thinking fanatical enough, because what you're saying does make total sense in a non-fanatical world. Now, let me ask you, is the current president, has he been shot?
The current president, he's been shot at.
Yeah. And he's been shot. Okay.
Yeah.
That did happen.
Yeah.
All right. Do we have people that are currently in office that were taking part in a baseball game, and have they been shot at? Yes. Do we have a scenario where leftists have decided, I'm going to shoot and kill CEOs on the street?
Yes.
100%.
All right.
If you think that there's going to be some sort of break in the party where somebody's going to do something new and there won't be repercussions, communists will make sure to eliminate it. And what they'll do, and this is not without basis. If you were to have John Morgan say, I'm starting my own party and I'm taking my money, they will be at his doorstep tomorrow threatening to kill him.
Man, which is really, really frightening, really scary.
Did we not have leftists that were sitting outside the doorstep of Supreme Court justices planning on killing them?
Yes. Yeah, we did.
All right.
Absolutely.
They're not going to allow for another party. There's far too much insanity here. You either deal with these people or they're going to deal with you. That is where we're getting at.
Yeah. No, I get that. And that's why Chuck Schumer went on The View. And Chuck was like, we got to, because he had all the commie talking points, right? That's why he was trying to save his hide. He was trying to show them that he's commie enough. He was trying to blend in because he knows what James Carville is talking about is correct, that the uprising is coming.
Yeah, there's no scaling this thing back at this point. Once we now have, and I've been waiting, and I've been watching, and I have yet to see not one Democrat say that we should not be having the sort of violence going on in this country in terms of what's going on at Tesla dealerships or on the street with random Tesla owners or defacing their car or burning their vehicle. Not one, not single, not one Democrat has called it into question and said anything about it, which means they're on board with it.
I did see Ro Khanna come out on CNN last night. He said you shouldn't be doing it. However, at the same time, there's no condemnation of it. There's not like you need to stop, don't do it now. That's the thing. They have no control over it. It's the anthill that's kicked over. And the crazy thing is that's what they've built.
By the way, who is it from CNN, and could anyone pick them out of a lineup?
Well, he's the Democrat from California, but he was on CNN, and the answer is no.
No one could pick him out of a lineup until some of their major players actually start saying that this violence is wrong. This violence will continue, and it's because they want it to continue. They actually firmly believe, that if they can cause enough damage to Tesla, that the stock price will fall, and they'll have to vote Elon Musk out of the company.
That's the goal.
That's the goal. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's an insane way of thinking. But when you're that emotional, when you make decision based on pure emotion versus thinking things through, that's the conclusion you come to.
It's just that they're willing to go to a place that we've never considered, and that's what communists do. Your morals, your values, it kicks in. Your belief in your religion, it kicks in, and you go, this is not moral. This is not what I should be doing as a citizen of the world or as a person of faith. They don't have those governors. None of them kick in. None of them say, I've got this, can of gasoline, a handful of rags, and some glass bottles. I might just decide to go light some things on fire, but I probably shouldn't because I might go to prison or I might be in bad standing with the Lord. Okay, they ain't concerned about prison, and they ain't concerned about the Lord either.
That's exactly right. And you see that over and over again. It's not like it's a one-time incident, and that's the part that is the most fearful for people. Because I think America is trending in the right direction. People feel good about the direction of the country, and you can see it in the polling. People feel good about it. But this is the open wound that has to be repaired. You got to figure out what to do with it. And it starts with the Democrat Party. They have to condemn it, as you're saying, and it's not being done at a high enough level, and it's not being done loud enough. Another thing that happened on CNN that I saw last night, Natalie Winters, who works on Steve Bannon's show, and it was on the Piers Morgan show, I'm sorry, where I saw her just absolutely obliterate Jeffrey Steele. Listen to this.
Well, I know Christopher Steele probably wanted to go down in history as someone that colluded with the Clinton campaign to take down President Donald J. Trump, but I really think that you represent probably the ultimate grifter in the American political space. For you to even come on here, obviously you're trying to sabotage what President Trump is doing when it comes to Russia and Ukraine, but to sit here, nearly a decade after you tried to smear President Trump as a Russian asset, to then say, well, I think he's a Russian asset, but even though I'm really good at my job and create all these intelligence reports, it's just sort of a feeling that I have. I'm sorry, what stones do you even have left to turn over to try to corroborate your claim that President Trump is a Russian asset? You weaponized FISA courts, surveillance, warrants, not just domestic spy agencies, international spy agencies too, the entire DNC apparatus, a bunch of political operatives and registered foreign agents here in the United States. The American people would really appreciate it if you would stop injecting your efforts to curtail and totally tank the America First movement by smearing anyone who doesn't want to get involved in forever wars or continue the needless and ceaseless dying in Ukraine and in Russia, just so you can sit there from your nice perch and just continue to defend the globalist world order by continuing to fan the flames of conflict in Russia and Ukraine. And you know know what? The same people that you ally yourself with here in the United States, you think you're so good at gathering intelligence. Last time I checked, it was the 51 intel agency officers, spies, who said that the Hunter Biden hard drive, which I've reported on firsthand, it's legitimate. You want to talk about president's sons who are involved in businesses with foreign countries? Well, I'd like to introduce you to Hunter Biden, right? When those 51 people that I'm sure that you know all too well, you were probably likely involved with the drafting of that letter, said that that was Russian disinformation. Well, it turned out that that was true, and shame on you for the last decade trying to inject the idea that smearing President Trump as a Russian agent or a Russian asset is somehow going to tank the MAGA movement. It's about putting America first, and the fact that you can still sit here and you have no actual evidence beside one random Russian meeting, and oh, we need to just continue to get more evidence. You're a complete political hack and grifter.
Dude, how long has she been waiting to say that to Christopher Steele? She unloaded on that dude.
All right, first off, Natalie Winters is freaking incredible.
Yeah, she's amazing.
Second, levity and brevity, baby. You can tear him up in 30 seconds and keep it to 30 seconds next time because, oh my God, like at some point it just becomes drivel. But what she's saying ended up putting Christopher Steele in a place where he couldn't respond.
No, he had nothing to say. He had nothing to say.
At all to say.
But that's the thing, Los. She said everything that every American that's voted for Donald Trump and that believes in the United States of America has wanted to say to that man for 4 years, 5 years.
Well, remember, this was the guy that at one point when he was heading up the RNC, this was what leadership looked like before Donald Trump. There are so many Republicans that when the era of Trump came into play, they recognized that suddenly their power was not going to be the same. And what did a lot of them do? A lot of them flipped on over. A lot of them said, well, I'm going to go another direction. I will be the Republican that shows up on your shows, and I'll be the one to tell you about how MAGA is a bad thing. We've seen this sort of stuff with Jeff Duncan here. You know, this has been the play for these people where they used to be in charge of the party. Now they're on the outside looking in the party, and they're bitter about it, and they all link it back to Donald Trump.
Yeah, of course. That's what all the establishment Republicans have done, and it doesn't matter because they've all been kicked to the curb. Donald Trump won every swing state. He won in such incredible fashion. And I would contend all because of things like Christopher Steele's statements and his fake dossiers and his defense of Hunter Biden's laptop. That's why Donald Trump won the way he did, because of all of that.
Yeah, it was one of it was in a large part, this is the system disruptor and we're tired of the system. And now we've seen it 2 times out of 3, maybe 3 times out of 3. But that has been the concept that if you represent the system, you will have voters that decided that the system is nasty and we shouldn't be dealing with it. To watch the system, to watch what's happening on the Democrat side with all their firebombs and their Molotov cocktails and everything else, that is the system fighting back at you.
That's right.
That's nothing other than that. That's the system fighting back at you.
That's the thing I love about Natalie Winters, though. She was waiting. She had been waiting. She wanted to get it off her chest. Did she go a little long? Yes. But she said everything she wanted to say, and it represents everything that I think most Americans wanted to say to Christopher Steele and people like him. This is the Morning Xtra, Tug and Los until 10. When we come back, has the intimidation game worked against SCOTUS? Talk about it next on Extra.
Finally, a president that will fight for American values.
The American dream is surging bigger and better than ever before.
And finally, an Atlanta news station that covers it the right way. Extra 106.3 isn't about traffic and weather. We care about the stories that matter most to you, your family, and your community. Get traffic and weather on your phone and get Atlanta's only conservative conversation right here on Extra 106.3 FM and the Extra app.
Tax season is here. Now's the time to take that tax refund and invest it in your home, your biggest asset, the thing that is going to help you retire one day. For over 25 years, homeowners have trusted Southern Exteriors. Over 200,000 projects. You heard me right. Not 20, not 200, not 2,000, not 20,000. 200,000 projects. They are based in Jackson, Georgia, service the entirety of Metro Atlanta, and have the staff to get it done. From windows and doors, roofing, siding, gutters, they get the job done right the first time, so they don't have to come back out a bunch of times. They don't have to take up time during your day. Because when you're doing those projects, you got to be there, or you got to let people into your house that you don't know. Let me tell you, you can rely on Southern Exteriors. These are folks that you will feel comfortable with in your home. And the beauty right now, maximizing that refund that I was talking about, 0% financing for 12 months or 10% off any project you do. Make the outside of your home the envy of the neighborhood, the envy of your cul-de-sac. Boost that curb appeal. Tackle these needed repairs today. Get a free estimate now. southernexteriors.co. It's southernexteriors.co.
Advisory services offered through Master Plan Retirement Consultants, Inc., a registered investment advisory in the state of Georgia. Insurance, tax, and commodity services offered through Fricks & Associates, Inc., DBA Master Plan Retirement Consultants. The aforementioned are affiliated companies.
Retirement means different things to different people. Some folks want to travel the world. Some folks want to spend more time with grandkids. For me, I'm looking forward to spending more time with my guitar. Whether extravagant and robust or simple and cozy, every retirement needs a plan. You wouldn't take a trip without directions. You have to know where you are before you know where you're going. Master Plan Retirement Consultants have helped many like you plan for their own retirement. Not only does Master Plan help you create the roadmap, they join you on the journey. So whether you want to travel the world, become a pickleball champ, or just looking for a good porch, a sturdy rocking chair, and an acoustic guitar, remember to plan well, because the destination is worth it. Visit masterplanretire.com to schedule your complimentary consultation today.
True Prep on Cobb Parkway is your one-stop shop for emergency preparedness supplies, including freeze-dried food, water filtration, first aid, and more. They also have a large selection of firearms, including a huge selection of AR-15s, firearm accessories, and ammo at the lowest prices around. They're locally owned and operated, and you can visit their store in Marietta on Cobb Parkway or online at trueprep.com. That's truprep.com. Prepare today for a worry-free tomorrow at True Prep.
Stovall & Company is a locally owned and operated family business that has been around for 75 years, offering quality wholesale landscape supplies to North Georgia. We just opened our 11th location in Canton, Georgia at 9500 Union Hill. Stovall provides contractors with personalized expert service, from special requests to direct job site delivery for hassle-free jobs and quality relationships at competitive prices. From plants to irrigation to hardscapes, Stovall truly has it all. Check us out at StovallInc.com.
Millions of guys suffer from erectile dysfunction. That's 1 in 3 men. And I can tell you, I'm one of them.
If you or someone you know suffers from ED, Peyronie's disease, or PE, here's 38-year emergency room doctor and founder of Total Body Therapy of Georgia, Dr. Eric Deal.
Patients who enter my office are often frustrated, hopeless, depressed, and embarrassed. I understand the problem, and I'm going to help you fix it. We provide testosterone replacement therapy, the P shot, and treatment for ED, PE, and Peyronie's disease. There's not just one therapy that can solve these complex issues. When you visit our clinic, you're going to see me. I'll do a complete history and physical prior to any treatment that we use. Take it from me, Dr. Deal. When it's not hard, it's really hard.
Call Dr. Deal for your free one-on-one evaluation and resolve your ED, Peyronie's, or PE issues. 404-777-1911. Total Body Therapy of Georgia. 404-777-1911. Online at tbtofga.com.
Are you concerned about securing your family's future and assets? Look no further than Nelson Elder Care Law. As a family-owned and family-focused firm, we offer absolute assurance and peace of mind through our comprehensive asset protection services. Visit NelsonElderCareLaw.com to explore how we can safeguard your legacy and provide tailored solutions for your family's well-being.
The stories that matter to you. These are your Georgia headlines.
A religious freedom bill is moving through the Georgia General Assembly and stirring up controversy. The bill aims to allow Georgians to exercise their religious faith without federal, state, and local government intrusion. Critics of the bill claim it could be used to discriminate against minorities without an anti-discrimination clause. Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene is calling on the heads of NPR and PBS at an upcoming DOJ congressional hearing next week. Greene is asking the CEOs to justify their need to be funded by taxpayer dollars and to explain bias in their reporting. Cobb County's Town Center Mall narrowly avoided an auction sale after the owners paid nearly $1 million in overdue property taxes. This follows a power outage in January due to unpaid bills. Today's weather: morning showers are moving through the metro area, and it'll be cooler this afternoon in the high 40s. Tomorrow will be warmer and sunny with a high of 68. With your headlines, I'm Jerry Payne.
7 o'clock hours brought to you by Van Sant Law Group. If you're in an accident, make the right call. vansantlaw.com. And something cool is going on tomorrow that I want to tell you about. The Kimmer Show will be broadcasting live 3 until 6 at Atlanta Safe House, 4435 Ackworth Industrial Drive, Northwest. You can find them online at atlantasafehouse.com. They're doing their big annual tent sale that happens tomorrow through Saturday. A ton of savings, of course, rebates up to $400 and sales tax free on all gun safes. They're scratch and dent sales. They got it all. But it's going on now and will continue through Saturday. But the Kimmer Show broadcasting from 3 until 6 at Atlanta Safe House on Friday, tomorrow, to start your weekend. Go hang out with the Kimmer. Now, I don't know if
you know this, but he is being shot out of a cannon into a trapeze.
It's amazing all the things. I assume Flounder's lining all this up because Kimmer he's very focused. He's very dialed in. But I know he enjoys the adoration of Kimmer babes and just Kimmer Show fans from over the years. I feel like it's a bit of a stretch. He doesn't need to do all these things.
No, right now, I don't know if you can pick it up on YouTube with the camera, but over in the corner, it is his Evel Knievel style outfit in red, white, and blue. He is going to be shot out of a cannon into a net, and so that's part of what is going to go on. So I've heard.
What a brave Marine.
Yes.
What a brave Marine. Marines are they're the hard chargers. They go in first. But I really do feel like Kimmer's doing all this stuff to get attention for Atlanta Safe House, which is great.
Yes.
That's what we want to do. They're a great local company. They share your values. They support Extra 106.3, so we love them and we appreciate them. But I think Kimmer's show, being the legendary show that it is going to get plenty of attention. He doesn't need to do the dunk tank. He doesn't need to go Evel Knievel out of a cannon. He just doesn't need to do all that stuff.
Well, I beg to differ. I think it kind of adds. If you just think that he's a regular human, a regular person,
right,
you don't understand what he's actually capable of doing. And so he's testing his limits, and I endorse this.
I gotta tell you, man, I used to want to test my limits a little bit, but as I've gotten older, I've dialed back on that. Like I used to go bungee jumping, and I went skydiving a few times and loved it, thought it was awesome. But I even to this day find myself being less limit pushing. I just don't have the desire to do it like I once did. And Kimmer is, he's a couple days ahead of me, and I'm surprised that he still has that desire, that want to break the barriers.
Do you think that it's kind of a bell curve where as you get older and you have responsibility and kid and you got to take care of stuff that risk aversion goes way up? Because it was way down when you were younger and you didn't have those responsibilities. I think on that bell curve, it happens on the other end. Once the kids are grown and you've taken care of your business, I think that's why he has no problem with these stunts now.
It's just bravery just comes rushing back.
He just said, hey, I can take some chances again.
It's like drinking a 5-hour energy or something. It's just right there. It's back. Dude, I love it. Getting shot out of a cannon will be pretty amazing. So go see it.
I don't know if it's been permitted yet. I think that was the issue. They were trying to get the permit because you can't just fire off a cannon in the middle of the city.
It's a very good point, and I didn't even take that into consideration. 404-741-1230. If you know if firing a cannon in the city needs a special permit or what kind of permit we need to get. Maybe you work for the city of Ackworth. I don't know. Or maybe you've done this before. You've been part of a Civil War reenactment. I don't know. What do we need to do to fire a cannon?
They do it up there at the Kennesaw Mountain Battlefield. So get Kimmer on up there and
maybe fire him back over to Ackworth.
There you go.
Dude, that's the way to do it.
All right, so here's the deal.
Yes.
A cannon is considered a destructive device under the 1934 National Firearms Act, so you do have to have it permitted. So if you happen to be at a football game and they like to fire off a cannon, that cannon does have to be permitted for use in that stadium. So, yes, we will need a permit for a big enough cannon to shoot Kimmer out and have him land in a net.
But is it different when it's a human projectile versus a cannonball per se?
That I'm curious about because right now it just talks about discharging.
Dude, Alpharetta High School used to do that. They used to have a cannon in the corner of the football field, and it would fire. Can you call it a blank? I don't know what you'd call it when you fire a cannon that doesn't shoot anything; it just makes the sound. But I think there was some sort of injury, and they removed it, and they no longer do it. It was When my son was maybe middle school, I remember them doing it when we go to the high school football games when he was a youngster playing Pee Wee League, and they would do it. We thought it was so cool, and then it just went away.
There's also a noise ordinance as well.
That makes sense.
So there are
They are loud.
laws and rules here that you have to abide by if you're going to fire off a cannon, even if it's not even loaded, just so you can have the effect of a cannon within your stadium or your event.
Think about the difference. I mean, because like a 9mm is a pretty common firearm. People shoot that. It's a very distinct sound. It's very loud. But a cannon, that's taking it up a notch. That's when you're really trying to disrupt the concentration of whatever's happening on the other side.
When you're running for afternoon drive and you want to win, how do you win? You get a little bit outrageous.
You get attention.
That's right.
Isn't it funny, though, that the Kimmer, his outrageousness is positive? You know, he's trying to bring attention to a great local company in Atlanta Safe House. And then the Democrats on the other side are trying to intimidate Supreme Court, justices. And it seems, at least in John Roberts' case, that it's working. And Amy Comey Barrett, too, because somebody down here where I am in South Carolina went to her sister's house.
Yeah, it's pretty creepy that the intimidation game, when this started back in the summer of a year and a half ago, when it was breaking that Roe versus Wade was going to be overturned and sent back to the states. By the way, it never should have, legally the way it was ruled on, it never should have happened. It always should have been a state issue. Okay, with that being said, once that did occur, you then saw the intimidation game run up into a crazy high level where you had people sitting outside of the justices' homes. And then at one point you had somebody who drove and made it a point to go show up in the D.C. area with a Glock, a crowbar, duct tape, a pistol light, and boots padded to be stealthy in order to kill Justice Kavanaugh and his family.
Unreal.
I do believe that this is having effect because you saw how quickly John Roberts started making the comments of, well, I don't know about us going after these federal court judges. Maybe not the best of ideas. We are seeing these people that have lifetime appointments, but I do believe they are subject to the intimidation, and it's starting to work, and the left is only empowered by that.
Because it works. They've seen it work over and over and over again. How do you scare people into silence? You're violent against them, or you track them down. That's the reason those groups in California are listing the faces, the ID numbers, the home addresses, and the tag numbers of ICE agents and any local municipality agencies that are participating with them. Because intimidation works. They've seen it work. They see it work over and over again. They see the attention that they're getting with the Tesla dealerships. It works for them.
Oh, it's the very worst of what we saw during the 1960s. You know, you had a scenario where you had people that tried to change the world and tried to have, we're going to do sit-ins, we're going to have peaceful marches. And then it turned into, well, if you're not going to listen to us, we're going to get more violent. We'll create the weathermen, and we'll bomb places. We will find a way to get your attention. They lost an election, and in record time, they've gone violent. They've gone feral. I mean, we're not even 2 months in, and this is what they're doing. They're back to burning things around the country.
I saw a video last night, and forgive me for not remembering where it was from, but somewhere it was in... It was basically a demonstration, and it was like a town hall meeting, but on the Democrat side. And these Democrats were coming to speak to their representative, whoever it was, wherever it was. But to your point, the first guy that I saw talking, he was screaming, he was infuriated. Fight! We want you to fight! We want you to fight! Which is fine. The next person that came up was like, "You see what damage we're doing to Tesla. You see the attention we're getting." Do more of that. Be violent. Get attention. That's the way we get our way. She didn't even care that it was being filmed. She didn't care that people knew who she was by making these statements. She wanted it out there. She wanted that message out there. And it works, going back to the whole point. So you're seeing it in small town halls. Can you imagine what like Soros-funded activist groups are planning? You see the I saw another thing that was being passed around. Maybe you saw it too on social media. It was a guide on how to make sure the Tesla lit up and caught on fire, how to modify your device to make sure that it blew up and set the car on fire. They're handing it out.
we're at a place, and it's not a good one, but we're at a place where we won. Everything's been good. We're rolling along. We're doing all the things that we can. And what they've instituted now is, well, we're going to attack on two ends. The resistance waited, and now they've kind of gotten their footing. Their footing is now going to be, we're going to use lawfare. Now, it won't work for very long. It is a speed bump, and then they'll get more crazy with it, and they'll continue it. And violence. And that's going to be the two things. Because when you have a favorability rating of 7 to 29%, as we have pointed out, you're not winning elections. You're not doing this the right way anymore. You have to create intimidation in order to get your way, and it's going to be violent. And so the fact that they feel comfortable getting up in front of filmed areas and advocating for more of this, it's because the real crazy ones, the real nutballs, firmly believe that this is some sort of Nazi regime.
Can you imagine that's what you believe? That you've been brainwashed.
Ask them.
Yeah, they'll tell you.
you.
But I find it hard to be brainwashed like
you
that.
You people are Nazis. Okay,
whatever, man.
How big of socialism are we into? Because I do recall in 2020 that was really your gig here.
I struggle because my sweet Aunt Peg, she buys it all. Everything that the View tells her, she believes.
She would stab somebody on the street if she felt like it would. Yeah, she would.
She would.
These people, they are so violent. They're the first one. Your Aunt Peg, and you don't recognize this yet. You will down the road. You will. But had there ever been a national call-in line to report people that didn't take the COVID vaccine?
Oh, she would have done that.
Yeah. Okay.
She would have definitely done that.
Telling you, that's exactly who these people are. Yes, is she going to visit you with violence on the street? Yeah, perhaps not. But if it
she loves being a hall monitor.
But if it means getting you into prison or having your kids taken away or have you lose your job or whatever her thing is, she would absolutely do it she wouldn't even bat an eye over it.
No, you're exactly right, dude. That's the thing that drives me up the wall. Like, how do you not see the crazy that you are, the crazy that you're creating?
But do you see how easy of a step it is to ramp it up a notch?
Well, yeah, if you have that tendency, and she does it. She's a small woman, but she is fiery. Did I tell you that she got after my mama? My Aunt Peg got after my mama about a post.
Yeah, for misinformation.
Yes.
What a nut.
Dude. And she's a wonderful cook. She buys great Christmas gifts. I mean, I feel like
but she's a communist nut, Tug.
Oh, I know.
And so she can be all these wonderful things, but when the chips are down, she's going to go in the direction of communism.
I feel like she would report me.
When she sees, if she was driving down, let's say you're over in like Barrett Parkway. You're over near like Kennesaw State. You drive by a Tesla dealership late at night. When people get out of a car and run up and start burning things, you know what she's not going to do? Give the license plate to authorities.
That's 100% correct. That is, you nailed it, dude. That's exactly right. I don't believe that she would ever be violent. I don't. There's none of me that believes that. I've known her for, as long as that my wife and I have been married. But I do believe if it were me, even me, I believe if there was a chance and it was you didn't take the shot or you didn't do what you're supposed to do, that she would turn my tag number in.
Or if I've got to have information here, but I agree with what they did, I'm not telling anybody.
I'm not telling it, which we've seen happen a million times, especially with people trying to help people avoid ICE or whatever all that's going on. When we come back on Extra 106.3, if you fell for the COVID hoax, you probably are falling for or have fallen for the Ukraine hoax too. Next on the Morning Extra.
The latest sports news, powered by 680 The Fan and driven to extra listeners by RBM of Atlanta in Sandy Springs, Atlanta's Mercedes-Benz connection since 1964.
Good morning. Here are your sports headlines for Thursday, March 20th. The Field of 64 gets underway this afternoon, this unofficial American holiday, as the men's college basketball tournament will begin. We'll start with 9th-ranked Creighton and 8th-ranked Louisville. That'll get action underway in the South region at 12:10. 13-seeded High Point will play 4th-seeded Purdue in the Midwest region. That's a 12:40 tip-off. The final game of this opening couple of hours will be in the East region as 14th-ranked Montana plays 3rd-ranked Wisconsin. That is the 1:30 tip-off. From Northport, Braves spring training continues for one more week before the start of the regular season. The Braves host the Philadelphia Phillies today at 1:05. You can hear that game on our sister station's app, the all-new 680 The Fan. With your sports headlines, I'm Carlos Medina.
I enjoy a good night's sleep, and I like to breathe while I'm sleeping. My wife appreciates that, too. That's why I wear a CPAP. You want the right machine. You want expert advice. You want all the supplies that go with it. You get it all at CPAPs, etc. in Alpharetta. Machines, masks, tubing, filters, cleaning supplies, all of it, and they ship nationwide. Walk-ins, by the way, are welcome. CPAPs, etc. Alpharetta, CPAPSETC.com.
You know the old expression, I love it when a plan comes together? Well, with our First Liberty Notes, this has been so true. Hello, I'm Brant Frost, founder of First Liberty Building and Loan. You hear about our family's company all the time right here on this station. For over 30 years, we've been the local lender who said yes when the big banks say no. A couple of months ago, we opened up our First Liberty Notes program to Main Street investors just like you, and the response has been just incredible. Folks from airline pilots to physicians to even pastors are now earning 8 to 13% interest rates while helping to fuel the growth of local small businesses. If you're a qualified investor with a minimum of $25,000, you too could be earning 8 to 13% interest. We'd love to have you join our First Liberty family today. Go to FirstLibertyGA.com and see if our First Liberty Notes are right for you. Go to FirstLibertyGA.com. That's FirstLibertyGA.com.
First Liberty Notes are not obligations of or guaranteed by any financial institution and are not secured by any collateral. They are not FDIC insured or guaranteed by any government agency. You could lose money. SEC accredited investor status must be verified. Securities not offered in any jurisdiction in which it is unlawful.
It's here. The factory-authorized Liberty Safe truckload clearance event. For 3 days only, the Safe Market and Liberty Safes of Atlanta is slashing prices by up to 40% on top-quality American-made safes. Gun safes, home security safes, all must be sold. With 3 convenient locations, there's never been a better time to buy. Thursday, March 20th through Saturday, March 22nd only. Shop online or come into any of our 3 stores for more savings. Call 770-242-0055 or visit thesafemarket.com. 770-242-0055.
Accomplishing goals is hard, but when your goal is to learn a new language, Babbel makes it easy. Babbel is designed with you in mind. From expert-created lessons to conversational video units and even live classes, you can personalize your Babbel experience to be exactly what you need to really learn a new language more easily. Go ahead, set a goal for yourself. Accomplish it with Babbel. Try Babbel for free. Go to BABBEL.com. That's Babbel.com.
Did you know that over 85% of grass-fed beef in stores is imported? Since the repeal of the country of origin labeling law in 2015, meat packaged in the United States can be labeled product of the U.S., even if it was born, raised, and harvested overseas. This is why I'm a big fan of GoodRanchers.com, the brand committed to 100% American meat. All of their products are born, raised, and harvested here in the U.S., free from antibiotics, added hormones, and seed oils. When you buy from Good Ranchers, you're supporting American farmers and ranchers who have fed this country for generations. And at GoodRanchers.com, you can also check out my exclusive box. Try my hand-picked selection, support my show, and directly support American ranches. Go to GoodRanchers.com/Beck and shop for my box today. Plus, right now, if you subscribe, you'll get free ground beef, chicken breast, or salmon in every box for a year, and $25 off with the promo code Beck. Visit GoodRanchers.com. Shop, subscribe, and stand with American ranches and values. Good Ranchers, American meat delivered.
When you buy a Subaru from Subaru of Gwinnett, you're buying more than a vehicle. You're buying safety for your family, an investment that will hold its value, and something that will last a long time. You're buying trust. For a limited time, celebrate all the 2025 models during the Subaru A Lot to Love event, now through March 31st. Whether you're looking to match your adventurous spirit with the 2025 Subaru Outback or lean on the reliability of the 2025 Subaru Forester, Subaru of Gwinnett has the perfect fit for your family. You'll love exploring in the 2025 Subaru Crosstrek, and the 2025 Subaru Legacy is what happens when we put the best of Subaru into a sedan. Plus, every Subaru model comes equipped with standard symmetrical all-wheel drive. Subaru of Gwinnett has been your hometown dealership for years, and we're proud to be here to help your family find a Subaru to love for years to come. And our award-winning service department is here to ensure you've always got someone to lean on and trust when you need us. Stop in for a test drive on Satellite Boulevard in Duluth and meet our incredible staff, or start your shopping online at SubaruofGwinnett.com.
Let's be here to enjoy the Left's Meltdown together. Extra 106.3 is dialed into all the latest breaking news and headlines, so you don't have to suffer through the left-wing spin. Get it right from Atlanta's only conservative voice. Extra 106.3 FM and the Extra app.
Tug and Los until 10 on the least productive day, or least productive 2 days in America with the NCAA tournament starting
We're
today.
productive, but...
No, we are, yes.
But by 10 o'clock, that ends, and then America is on notice. You have until noon to get stuff done. By 12:10, most men will be checking out mentally.
That's right. Done and over with.
Did you listen to Clay and Buck talk about this yesterday?
I didn't. I was driving. I didn't get a chance.
All right, so Clay is telling Buck about how... excuse me if I mess up tomorrow. I'll mess up more than usual. I'll be watching college basketball while trying to do the show.
Right.
And, of course, that's wholly foreign to Buck Sexton, who I think his interest in sports is minimal at the very most.
Well, Clay took him to his first ever football game down in Tuscaloosa, and he was blown away by it. But he was like, I didn't even know that this part of life existed. So, yeah. Those guys are great, and that's because you and I both love sports. You're obviously an aficionado. You understand the numbers of sports, and you've worked sports radio for 20 years or so. But we both enjoy sports, so it's not like a foreign concept when you bring something to the show. I can talk about it, I can react to it. I like any other sports fan.
We'll both be doing the same thing today. By 12:10, 12:30, we'll mentally be checking out and saying, where's the game on? And then there's always the lull. And just to remind everybody, when we hit about 4:30 in the afternoon, and that's when they're going to give you the news, and you're going to say, man, there's no more basketball on. No, there's about a 90-minute, 2-hour window where they'll allow some news to be out there, and then by the time we hit 6 o'clock again, boom, the next 4 hours, all college hoops.
That's right. And so tomorrow we maybe our show suffers a little tomorrow. It might. It could.
Yeah, maybe.
I'm not saying it will. We're going to work hard to not allow that to happen. But reality sets in, and your focus is probably not on Tesla dealerships being firebombed. It's more on three-pointers and half-court buzzer beaters and anything else that's that makes the Cinderella teams, anything else that makes the tournament magical.
This is going to sound a little bit silly, and I get it because I normally am an advocate on the other way. Because I'm currently selling a home and buying a home, I have not placed any sports wagers because I don't want anything weird on my account that I get asked about. So because I have not done that for the better part of 2 months, I have found myself watching games and going, I'm just here for the fun of it. Which typically it's more of, I'm just here to see if he can get to 25 points.
I got a parlay on this.
I got a play here that's going on. And so I found myself watching these first 4 games I would normally have, small plays, nothing crazy. But I found myself enjoying it in a different fashion this time around. I'm not saying it's going to stick.
No,
just saying that for the time being, it's been a little different.
I've known you for quite some time now. I know that will not stick. I mean,
I don't play a lot of stuff until college football season, but it's been fun.
I would, especially when college football season rolls around, I'd be willing to bet because I'm not a gambler.
$100.
That's right. I would put my chips down on Los being betting again soon as this house stuff's taken care of. You and I never fell for COVID. We knew from the get-go something wasn't right. We sniffed it out. But people did. So many people did. It's people that we know and work with and love, and the media hype scared them to death. The media hype, that fear-mongering worked. And those are the same type people, unfortunately, Los, that have fallen for the Ukrainian ruse.
Yeah, Alan J. Cooperman over in The Hill. You can find this article. It's entitled, Sadly, Trump is Right on Ukraine. Now, Cooperman is no giant Trump supporter. In fact, he points out how many things that he does not agree with Donald Trump about. But he flat out tells you were the victim of propaganda. That if you were a believer in COVID, this was probably the next one. And it was interesting to me how those same people who'd been led around by their nose during COVID immediately went right into Ukraine stuff as well. They were wearing the mask and then they went right to the Ukrainian flag. And he points out 3 key areas. He points out about the violence that you had from the Nazi faction of the Ukrainians against the Russians in 2014 in that region of the world and how that helped kick stuff off. He also pointed out how you had Zelensky, who because of his pursuit of NATO also did not have a problem with violence in the area, hoping it would touch off a bigger conflict so that Ukraine would find themselves in a NATO quicker. And the last one that he points out, as he's getting into, like, here are the three ways this happened, he also talked about how Joe Biden contributed with the escalation and with the propaganda and made it turn into like this was some great place that you had to save from the evil of the world, and it's good guy versus bad guy, and it requires our money. This is in the Hill. This is now basically pointing out that everything that Donald Trump said about what was going on in Ukraine and why it needed to end was correct.
I believe there's a reason that you're seeing these articles. That is because Democrats are looking for meaning. And they found it in COVID, right? They found that meaning that I'm part of something. You know, I'm part of the resistance. We're going to fight back. We're going to save lives. We're going to do all these things. Same way with Ukraine. We need something to be a part of. Let's cheer for the good guy, bad guy, and we know both sides are bad guys. But they find their value there. They find their meaning in things like that, maybe political, maybe health-wise, or maybe it's in the environment. Up until Elon Musk started voting for Donald Trump, they found it in the environment. They find their meaning in all the wrong places, and they're so easily hoodwinked. They're so easily hooked like a catfish in a lake somewhere. They're able to be hoodwinked because they don't have meaning in their life. I would tell these people, drop all that stuff, go to church. Find meaning somewhere else. Don't find meaning in government and being told what to do.
So I wonder what I belong to that I feel so strongly about in that regard. Because maybe at this point it's the volleyball community. Because I mean, we seem to spend a lot of time and a lot of money involved in that, where I'll defend it and talk about it and do whatever. But I don't recall something as frivolous as I have to wear a mask in order to feel like my life has some great meaning, or I've got to put a Ukrainian flag on in order to show you what I'm all about. Like that just feels, I don't know, maybe just by nature I'm kind of like the black sheep of like, I'll do things a little bit differently, you know?
Yeah, it's a very hollow meaning, but they're searching for, I think that's the human condition. We're searching for something bigger. We're searching for meaning. They find it in all the wrong places. And I'm glad that the writer at the Hill is recognizing, hey, we were led by our noses down a wrong path. Hopefully that opens up some eyes, some minds, some hearts, because look, the people that read the Hill are easily misled. Those are the people that were the crazy COVID fascists, crazy COVID warriors, if you will, because they were looking for that meaning. I hope more people think like that. And you never know. Maybe that's the crack in the dam for that one particular writer that later down the road he goes, oh, well, Trump was right again. And then again and again. I do believe, I mean, that's part of the people that are walking away from the Democrat Party so much is they are having their eyes open to that stuff.
I would like to think, Tug, that George Carlin 30 years ago when he talked about, why are we here, the age-old question, that when you are on your deathbed and you get to those pearly gates and you ask the same question, you'll be told the same answer. Plastic. You're here to make plastic for the Earth. Earth couldn't make it on its own. Needed humanity to make plastic.
Right.
You'll be like, why was I there, Lord? Plastic. The Earth needed plastic.
That's right. And you've done well, my friend. You've done good.
You did
because
so
everything
good
is made of
at making plastic.
That's right. I hope it's more than that.
It's going to last so much longer. But by the time that you biodegrade right out of this thing, there'll still be plastic here. Well done, Tug.
And cockroaches, because they can survive nuclear meltdown when it all happens. When we come back, the DOE is DONE. Next on the Morning Extra after a Neil Boortz report and a Fox News update.
The Boortz Report, exclusively on Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station, Extra 106.3.
Every Wednesday afternoon at our golf club, the octogenarian nine-holers meet for lunch and then 9 holes of golf. Retired life. We have a software developer, a criminal defense attorney, a trucking company owner, and me. Sometimes, as we did yesterday, we'll talk about politics. There's not a Democrat voter among us. Come on. We live in Naples, a county with not one single Democrat elected official. And yesterday, the two biggest topics that we deemed worthy of discussion were Joe Biden's auto pen and the American media. I know you want to know what we thought, so here goes. Auto pen. We believe that taking into consideration Joe Biden's excessively diminished mental capacity, everything signed by Auto Pen ought to be subject to investigation. That includes all of the pardons, especially Hunter Biden. There are grounds to rescind all of them. The grounds are simple. Any contract signed by a person who is not mentally competent should be and is null and void. Even if that person is the President of the United States, then it comes to the media. Members of the American media establishment, which is largely Democrat, largely meaning about 90% plus, knew full well that Joe Biden was mentally incompetent, but they hid it. They did not tell us. They did not want to empower whoever might be running against him in the next election. They were complicit. Donald Trump had to beat the Democrat Party machine and the American Democrat machine. Now he's having to fight the American federal judge cartel. Maybe we ought to put the Wednesday afternoon meetings of the octogenarian nine holders on YouTube. I'll work on that. Neil Bortz, Extra 106.3.
Compact outside, the all-electric, all-wheel drive EQB 300 4MATIC SUV is big on space, style, and smart ideas. With available seating for 7, a digital voice assistant, and MB navigation with electric intelligence, the EQB is born from a forward-thinking family and built for yours. Get an exceptional offer on the all-electric 2024 EQB 300 4MATIC SUV. Just $399 per month for 36 months with $51.93 due at signing, exclusively from RBM of Atlanta in Sandy Springs. Contact RBM of Atlanta for details on this vehicle and many other models during the RBM of Atlanta's spring sales event. Special lease rate available only to qualified customers exclusively from Mercedes-Benz Financial Service through RBM of Atlanta, Sandy Springs through March 31st, 2025. Excludes tax, tag, title, and Georgia Lemon Law fees. Contact RBM of Atlanta for details on this and other exciting offers. Visit us at rbmofatlanta.com or call us at 770-390-0700 for details.
Hey, Georgia neighbors, it's time to expect more from your Medicare Advantage. Discover Sonder Health's custom plans tailored just for Georgians. Saunders offers unique benefits, including special plans for those living with chronic conditions. Some plans even come with grocery or gas benefits to support your overall well-being. Sonder Health makes it easy to get the coverage you need. See for yourself what today's Medicare Advantage can do for you. Visit SonderHealthPlans.com, a healthier state of life. Sonder Health Plans is an HMO and PPO with Medicare contracts. Enrollment in Sonder Health Plans depends on contract renewal.
WFOM and W292EV Marietta, a Dickey broadcasting station. The 8 a.m. hour is brought to you by Central Heating and Air.
Break it up. I'm Chris Foster, Fox News. President Trump's expected to sign an executive order today directing Education Secretary Linda McMahon to start the process of dismantling her department and turn its responsibilities over to the states and other federal agencies.
President Trump has criticized the department as wasteful and pushed to expand educational freedom. His administration began laying off hundreds at the agency last week, but only congressional lawmakers can get rid of the education department, which Congress created in 1979, a topic McMahon acknowledged during her confirmation hearings. Kristen Goodwin, Fox News.
Ukraine's President Zelensky, in a phone call with President Trump, agrees to a limited ceasefire with Russia as far as attacks on energy infrastructure. White House spokeswoman Caroline Leavitt.
Technical teams will meet in Saudi Arabia in the coming days to discuss broadening the ceasefire to the Black Sea on the way to a full ceasefire. They agreed this could be the first step toward the full end of the war and ensuring security.
President Trump, during that call, suggested the idea of the United States taking ownership of Ukraine's power plants to ensure their security. 2 months into his second term, there's a new Fox News poll on President Trump's job performance.
President Trump gets high marks from 49% of voters. Republicans approve and Democrats disapprove of the president by the same percentage, 92% to 8%. Independent voters disapprove of the president, 61 to 38%.
Fox's Gernal Scott. The last person known to have been seen with a missing University of Pittsburgh student from Virginia, Joshua Reeby, has left the Dominican Republic with a new passport after 2 weeks detained in his hotel. Reeby told police that he'd pulled her to safety from rough surf, asked if she was okay, then passed out on the beach. Her body hasn't been found. Her parents say they believe she drowned, and Reeby's not responsible. A judge yesterday ruled that he was free to leave and that police had improperly been keeping him under surveillance. America's listening to Fox News.
Are you having trouble hearing? Hearing loss can devastate the quality of your life. Now, there's an affordable fix for you or your loved one. Rated the best hearing aids of 2025 by Forbes Health, Audion Hearing has the highest quality hearing aids at the lowest prices, just $189.
I actually like them better than my old $5,000 hearing aids.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed.
Join over 1 million happy customers by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
Only two things in life are certain: death and taxes. How about one more? Switch from Verizon, AT&T, or T-Mobile to cut your bill in half with Pure Talk. For just $25 a month, get unlimited talk, text, and 5 gigs of data on America's most dependable 5G network. Switching is easy. Dial pound 250 and say keyword Pure Talk to make the switch, and you'll save an additional 50% off your first month. Pure Talk. Wireless by Americans, for Americans.
No traffic, no big deal. It's the Morning Extra on 106.3.
Tug and Los until 10 on the Morning Xtra. Thank you for being here. 404-741-1230 and Extra 106.3 across the social media platforms. At Tug Coward, at Front Office Los. You can find us easily, and we love to communicate there, whether you're streaming on the app, which is the preferred method of listening to Extra 106.3, but also on the YouTube channel, extra1063.com. 106.3 FM, 12:30 a.m. There's so many ways to interact with Extra 106.3, and it's a voice that is unique in the marketplace here in Atlanta, Georgia. For many, many years, there was a radio station that was the kind of the conservative beacon. They did an about face and went the other direction, and that opened the door for Extra. We're proud to be here, and we're really, really appreciative that you have found us and that you are listening to us. Because we feel like the discussions that we have need to be had, and that have not been had since maybe even the passing of Rush Limbaugh. It was that voice just disappeared. It was silenced, and then the emergence of Extra 106.3, and then all of a sudden Clay and Buck, that show blew up, and just the lineup here at Extra 106.3 is conservative to the core, and it's impressive. Starting, with Glenn Beck after we're done, such a legendary name. Clay and Buck, biggest show in all of conservative media, and then the Kimmer Show in the afternoon, legendary voice that has been on in Atlanta radio for years and years and years. It's a good time to be a conservative, Los.
Tug, let's tell the audience something that's probably going to blow their mind.
What's that?
After Limbaugh passed and they were running the best of shows and what they were doing, that other station in the market basically tossed it aside. It was available to anybody.
Sure.
They decided to take a property like that and just said, yeah, whatever.
Doing something different.
And so, our ownership was like, wait a minute. Like, are you kidding? You're actually taking this property that has this many listeners and this much heritage to it and getting rid of it? We ended up acquiring it, and again, it was... It's not supposed to happen.
No, that's right.
So the vestiges, the roots of Limbaugh are here with this radio station and remain here, and they remain strong.
We try to keep the torch lit that Rush was the originator of. And I would never even put myself in the same stratosphere as Rush Limbaugh. However, I used to listen to him every day. I knew what he was all about. I enjoyed his content, and I hope that some of his lessons, some of his discussions that I've heard over the years come out in the way I talk about things, whether it's my family or my faith or my love of sports, which today's going to be a really fun day as Georgia takes on Gonzaga. Here's another thing. I'm already getting blown up by my buddy who's a Gonzaga grad.
What's the tip time on that one? I'm going to take a look just because
4:05.
4:05 tip time.
I knew it was this afternoon. I wasn't 100% positive, but
I got to figure out what I got to do because we do have a girls volleyball practice. I think I can get out of it. I don't know. I got out of last night's.
Good job. Worst comes to worst, though. You got my login to the old streaming channel.
I can watch this without a problem. Yeah,
you'll be good to go.
Yeah, no, I'll be fine. It's more of I'd really like to be. Okay, here's the deal. If I'm going to drive the kids to practice, that is not then go hit the bar and hang out and watch the game and put down a few.
Right.
If I don't have to drive the kids to practice, then you can go to the bar and put down a few.
That's right. You and everybody else.
Right.
As unproductive of a day it is for businesses across the country, and everybody knows it. It's not. Maybe it used to be a secret. I can't imagine that it was. It's the worst kept secret if it was that. But it is that much more productive for bars and grills and restaurants.
Oh, everybody does well
hangouts,
next 4 days.
Watering, exactly. This is probably their biggest time of year.
Outside of, depending on the theme of your bar, like I did drive by Good Old Days the other day when it was St. Patrick's Day. Mm-hmm. Packed. It was like 2 o'clock in the afternoon, packed. I was like, not going to be going over there today. But if you're a sports bar, you're going to do well next 4 days.
I had to say, man, really, and a sports bar definitely going to get the majority, but all you need is a TV and a tap. I mean, if you got those two things, maybe a small kitchen, you're going to do well.
You just got to make sure, because remember, we do have the multitude of games on a regular basis. You got to give me at least 3 TVs.
Okay.
I got to have everything going. And I think because between CBS and True TV and TNT, I think that it's on 4 networks. Mm-hmm. And so you will have the rotation going. So you got to have at least 3-4 TVs ready.
And that's the only bad thing about if you have to take the girls to volleyball practice tonight, you only got one phone. And I guess you can bring an iPad with you.
Yeah, but that's what it is. You have to change around to games depending on what's a good finish. Yeah, we have a 5:30 practice this afternoon.
I pray you're able to get out of it. I do.
I'm gonna work on it.
Donald Trump has made so many promises, and he's really effectively delivered on so many of them. And I expect he's going to deliver on a whole lot more. You're already seeing the turnaround in the economy. You're seeing inflation go down. You've seen the border closed. I mean, it is at the people coming across gotaways or coming illegally into the country has been made an absolute trickle. Those were promises kept. Those are promises that Donald Trump ran on, and for the first time in my adult life, I remember a president saying, I'm going to do this, and then actually doing it. The other one that was a big deal, was it as big as the border and the economy? No. But was it a huge deal for parents? Yes, and that was the Department of Education. When it was made a law under Jimmy Carter, it was created as an agency. The American education system was the leader. It was the beacon. And since then, it has become a shell of itself. It's become almost embarrassing to know that we spend more money than anybody else in the free world or even in the entirety of the world. But we spend the most money and we get the least bang for our buck. Donald Trump says in an executive order that he'll sign today, it will start setting up the conditions to dismantle and shut down the Department of Education. Again, a promise made and a promise that Donald Trump intends to keep, and I am all for it.
It's revealing that somebody like Angela Morabito, who's been a guest on the show, who's worked in that department under Betsy DeVos, she is like waving the pom-poms to take the Department of Education apart. Again, this is a group that made sure to give her a check, and yet she looks at it and says, this is not doing right by our kids. She had the up-close look at it. Yeah. And so, like, even today, if you go follow her on Twitter, you will see that as this is coming down, she's one of the primary advocates for saying that we need to send education back to the states, and she'll give you a laundry list of reasons why, because it can't get any worse than what we're doing right now.
No. I believe that parents will do a better job than in making choices if given the opportunity. They will do better, whether it's homeschooling, whether it's private schooling, whether it's public education ran by the states. I think parents are going to be able to make a better decision for their kids. But the key is having the choice. With the Department of Education, the way it's set up now, we don't have a choice. We have failing schools and 1 in 3 eighth graders that can't read.
That's the number. 1 in 3 that are functionally illiterate.
It's nuts.
How does that happen?
It's in the country that spends more money than anybody else. So it'd be like if you were like, I'm going to build the best house in Atlanta, Georgia. It's going to be the greatest house you've ever seen. And you spent more money than anybody else. And your house turned out to be a shack. And you were like, what? Well, wait, what? I spent all this money. You're talking to your contractor like, well, what happened? He's like, no, this is it. Aren't you happy with this? What's your problem? Why do you expect so much? Because I spent so much. I gave you freaking grips of money, and you told me you were going to build a mansion, and you built a shack.
It really does lead us towards the movie Idiocracy. That if we have 1 in 3 eighth graders that are functionally illiterate, keep in mind, doesn't mean
$250 billion a year is what we spend.
It doesn't mean they can't read. It means they can't function at a level in which case they can keep pace with class or with a job or with any of career aspirations moving forward. They have to do more to catch up, or, as it happens, they get left behind. They end up being, again, 1 out of 3. We're talking about 33% of the country that you sit back and say, there's no way we can help you with the current system, so you just get left to the wayside.
Remember when I told you we went to College of Charleston for the
orientation? Yeah,
orientation. I don't know why that word always escapes.
It's all right. For some reason, that's the only one I remember.
I almost said indoctrination.
Freshman orientation, indoctrination time. And at Texas A&M, they call it fish camp. So everybody has a different way of doing this.
Yeah, orientation. We go there and they start talking about the remedial math classes, and for us, thankfully. I'm so happy that my son didn't need a remedial math class when he got into college. But you brought up Angela Morabito. I saw where she shared on social media yesterday that the Harvard math department is introducing a new course aimed at helping kids that are coming to Harvard, an Ivy League school, with the foundational algebra skills that they don't have.
Ugh.
What? So College of Charleston, great school, love it. It's a great place to go to school for sure. They're talking about remedial math, but an Ivy League school. This is how far they've dumbed it down.
Yes, there are cracks.
An Ivy League school is saying we have kids that get here that can't do algebra. We're going to start a remedial class. That's what the Department of Education represents, a remedial class that's needed at an Ivy League school to do algebra.
We're going back, let's see, I start doing the math on here, about 25 years or so. And there was one person. Now, I had a lot of classmates. They went to a lot of great universities. They're doing a lot of awesome things in their lives. But there were a handful of my classmates that were going to Ivy League institutions. But there was just one that was going to Harvard. Now, he had a perfect SAT score. That's how he got in from little San Antonio, Texas. Guy with a perfect SAT score, wanted to go to Harvard. He got into Harvard. That's what it took. To now think that you have remedial algebra classes at Harvard, it's almost like saying that, when you ever go to a school and you ever notice, I guess, the temporary school buildings that they'll stick outside.
Yeah, the trailers.
Yes. That's when you know things have grown and that they're not keeping up and they're trying to. And the more trailers you have, the more issues you're having on with that school. That's like sticking a trailer next to Harvard.
Yes. That's
a
exactly
remedial
right.
algebra class for students that shouldn't have a problem getting into Harvard. You should not have a problem with algebra if you're getting into Harvard.
That trailer doesn't have any underpinning. You can see the wheels.
That's right. They didn't even bother with that. No underpinning. You can just see it. There they are.
Yeah. Look, I'm glad he's taking the steps to dismantle the DOE. We'll see where that heads. Did you see where Elon Musk said his life was in danger because he's been helping Donald Trump? This is not surprising to me that he has, crazy people following him around, crazy people after him. And I think anybody that's famous probably needs some pretty good security. I mean, John Lennon was killed by a man that was one of his biggest fans, right? So there's that. But I don't believe that's the reason that Elon Musk is saying that that he's in danger. He said, they want to kill me because I'm stopping their fraud. I know they're emotional, and we've talked about the violence. And it's not, like I said, it's not everybody. My Aunt Peg's not trying to kill Elon Musk, but she's probably not going to report the car tag, just as you brought up. When she sees somebody firebombing the Tesla dealership in Avalon, she's not going to tell them who did it because she's in support of it. I love her, but she's wrong. Elon Musk knows that he's stopping the gravy train, and I bet his security has been doubled, tripled, and quadrupled because I believe him when he says they want to kill me.
This is not the first time he's brought it up. He brought it up several weeks ago when he did the Joe Rogan podcast. He's brought this up with Ted Cruz. When he's done interviews and he's asked about this, he is very clear. They are looking to hurt me. Now, when he did the Rogan one, I thought it was fascinating. And the reason why, it's because he had this clarity of it. He flat out told Joe Rogan, if we got rid of all the waste, fraud, and abuse, like every little bit of it, then yes, I'd probably be killed. But because they're getting just rid of the obvious stuff, the things that you can't possibly question, as he brought it up, if there's $1 billion going to an aid organization in Africa, he said, all we're asking for is send me a picture of the grain silo. And even if you use AI to do it, we're just going to move on. It's like they're trying to find the most obvious stuff. When you're stripping away this kind of money, you make yourself a target. And Tug, the weird part is when you brought up to end last hour, people that are looking for meaning in their lives that are empty, how weird must it be that there are people out there that go, my life is meaningless, but if I can just get Elon, everyone will know me.
And they'll love me. And they'll celebrate me, and they'll remember me forever, and I'll be in the history books.
Yes.
Get yourself to church, sir. This is what I would tell. Find yourself a nice church.
Find a nice psychiatrist.
Find some meaning. Start there, and then get to church.
If you happen to find your way into church and you happen to avoid maybe a little bit of help, maybe some Xanax or whatever, okay, whatever, that's fine. But let's find ourselves some little bit of a deeper meaning other than let me kill the world's richest man because he's helping Donald Trump, and I've been told that they're Nazis.
And anybody who downplays this, it's not like Elon Musk is an emotional man. That I can tell, I don't see him get emotional about anything. He's very plain spoken. He doesn't get like way high or way low. He's very even keeled. I don't believe that he's speaking from a place of fear. I think he's just stating what is true to him.
Well, that's okay. One of the hallmarks of when you're on the spectrum as he is, if it's Asperger's, you're very direct with people.
Mm-hmm.
There's not a whole.
And people hate that.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot of emotional games. It's just you ask the question, I give you the answer. Yes, are you trying to simulate a little bit of humanity? Yes, you would like to, but that's why you get direct answers from him. There's no fluff here.
Yes, and that's what I like about him. I think he's a fascinating guy. I'll be honest with you. I knew about SpaceX. I knew about Tesla. I knew about his companies, but I didn't know a great deal about him. And maybe I still don't know a great deal about him. I talk about him a lot, so I certainly know about him more than I did before. I'm fascinated by Elon Musk, and I was late to the game. I remember my brother-in-law, who was a missileer in the Air Force, retired Air Force captain. He was telling me about Elon Musk years ago. He's like, dude, this guy is doing extraordinary things. You need to check out what he's doing. And he would send me articles, and I would read them, and it was great. But I don't know that I was at a place where he was, my brother-in-law was, with Elon Musk. Now that I've gotten kind of caught up, I can't wait to see what he is capable of doing. I'm not an EV driver. I have no interest in an EV. And I know you've said, you kind of maybe will consider one just to support, and I love that. I think it's great. It just doesn't fit where I am now. But the things that he's able to do, like rescuing astronauts, and I'm fascinated. Do I want to go to Mars? No. But do I think it's incredible to the thought of being able to give somebody that opportunity that does? That's unbelievable. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. That's the stuff that we know about. I can only imagine what he's working on behind the scenes.
This is not a fault of yours, Tug, but it is a blind spot. All right, you missed the entirety of what the effect that Marvel has had on America.
Right.
I mean, remember, we're talking about the highest grossing movies in some cases of all time. Yeah. Like that, it captured the imagination of this country.
And I've seen almost none of them.
Right. For like a decade, it captured the imagination of this country. It allowed people to actually believe that there was some sort of universe where there were like real heroes, like real people out there that could make a difference with their money or their powers. That's what Elon is. That's the cool part about it. He is a real life Tony Stark. The dude just decided, hey, apparently y'all can't get these astronauts out of here. I'll go do it. I'll send my people to go do it. Like, how cool is that?
It's unbelievable. And this is not an original thought. I've seen this written, but it makes a lot of sense to me. He's the Albert Einstein of our time. Yeah. And that's fascinating to think that we live in a time. Because, I mean, when you think about the smartest people in the world, who's the first person that comes to mind? Albert Einstein. That's the example. He's no Einstein. Baby Einsteins. Everything's Einstein. 50 years from now, Elon Musk may replace that. It'll be Musk. It'll be little Musks. I don't know. But when he's doing the things that he's doing, it's encouraging, it's inspiring, just like you're talking about those movies are for a lot of people.
Well, if you read about Nikola Tesla, when you go like, okay, so Tesla was like this way ahead of his time engineer to the point that so many of what he came up with have like disappeared. Like industry swallowed them up. They're like, we can't have this stuff out here. Elon Musk is that kind of engineer. And then decided, oh, by the way, I'm going to call my car company after one of like the geniuses of our era.
Yeah. I mean, he just does things and thinks in ways that I can't comprehend, and I don't think many people can comprehend. Morning Extra and Extra 106.3, 8 o'clock hours brought to you by Central Heating and Air Conditioning, your Atlanta carrier experts. 770-GET-HEAT, centralheat.com. If you're sneezing a whole bunch, like I am, you can get them to come out and fix what ails your house. Make it a no-sneeze zone with Central Heating and Air Conditioning. They can purify the air, clean the air, make sure that the house inside your home is that sanctuary it needs to be. 770-GET-HEAT, centralheat.com. When we come back, a funny guy advocates for violence, which isn't funny at all. Next on the Morning Extra, Tug and Los until 10.
Hey, it's Flounder, and the Kimmer Show is live every afternoon from 3 to 6 p.m.
All Donald Trump is doing for the new tariff plan is to make it reciprocal. If a company charges a 10% tariff on our stuff, we charge a 10% tariff on theirs.
Canada charges a 200% tariff on our dairy products.
Yeah.
But when we do it, we're the bad guy.
Yeah, right.
The Kimmer Show, every afternoon from 3 to 6 p.m. on Extra 106.3 and the Extra app.
Join A Second Chance Bail Bond CEO Daniel Madelon and host Tug Cowart for the weekly radio show Back Your Blue. They will highlight special initiatives, criminal justice programs, and community events aimed at keeping our communities safer. Tune in Saturdays at 10 a.m. to learn some good news about and from the law enforcement and justice communities. This week's guest is Gwinnett Sheriff Kibo Taylor. Tune in on Saturdays or catch up on all past episodes wherever you get your podcasts or at thepodcastpark.com.
No one plans on going to jail, but when it happens, it's important that you know who to call. Call A Second Chance Bail Bonds, where we believe everyone deserves a second chance. Whether your loved one's been arrested in Cherokee, Clayton, or any of the other metro Atlanta counties in between, A Second Chance Bail Bonds works fast to help expedite release within hours. A Second Chance. It's better to know us and not need us than need us and not know us. Call A Second Chance 24/7 at 404-BAIL-OUT or online at atlbail.com. Hi, my name is Steve from Marietta, and we hired ATL Turfco to build our dream backyard golf setup. They installed a large 4-hole putting green, a sand bunker, a short game area, and did a full conversion to artificial grass around the pool with decorative retaining walls. ATL Turfco was really creative. They were efficient. The installation was a breeze. Price was completely reasonable, and I definitely appreciated their communication throughout the project. I would definitely recommend ATL Turfco to anybody thinking about doing a backyard makeover. You can check them out online right now at atlturfco.com.
Georgia is home to over 600,000 veterans who play an important role in strengthening our communities. The Warrior Alliance is recognizing these contributions at the 4th Annual Veteran Impact Awards and Gala on Thursday, May 22nd at the Coca-Cola Roxy Theater at the Battery, Atlanta. You may participate by nominating a Georgia veteran for their exceptional service after military service in categories such as first responder, healthcare, education, military spouse, and more. Go to thewarrioralliance.org today and submit your veteran nomination.
Hey, it's a Kimmer. You know, a great smile can make you more successful as well as make you happy. Yes, it's true. And your smile's waiting for you at my dentist, Dr. Dina Giesler, my friend for 30 years and dentist forever. This woman at Atlanta Smiles, atlantasmiles.com, the dentist with a doggy. It's really true, whether it's just regular cleaning or bridges or crowns or are your teeth bothering a little bit, maybe a little ache or something, or your gums it's not going to get better on its own. Take it from me, I found that out the hard way. Taking care of your teeth and gums, and everybody's happy. free. And by the way, you can relax with Dr. Dina. This is an individual, private VIP experience. The latest technology. She used AI to get my last thing done at my last visit. And don't forget the doggies, a little doggy to take a nap in your lap while you're getting your work done. And this staff, these ladies are angels, I promise you. You'll love going there. A veteran herself, Dr. Dina, 10% veterans discount off the top. Tell them when you call. 404-262-7733. Your smile's waiting. Get the doggy at AtlantaSmiles.com.
True Prep on Cobb Parkway is your one-stop shop for emergency preparedness supplies, including freeze-dried food, water filtration, first aid, and more. They also have a large selection of firearms, including a huge selection of AR-15s, firearm accessories, and ammo at the lowest prices around. They're locally owned and operated, and you can visit their store in Marietta on Cobb Parkway or online at trueprep.com. That's TRUprep.com. Prepare today for a worry-free tomorrow at True Prep.
Don't miss the first MLB All-Star Week event at Truist Park as talent meets tradition in the 3rd annual HBCU Swingman Classic presented by T-Mobile and powered by the MLBPA Youth Development Foundation. Join fans, athletes, and alumni to watch Hall of Famer Ken Griffey Jr. shine a light on 50 of the best young ball players from HBCUs around the country on baseball's biggest stage, July 11th at 7 p.m. Get your tickets today at allstargame.com/swingman.
Neil Borch here. Maybe you've already taken the steps to improve your health, maybe save your life. You're using a CPAP for your sleep apnea. I've been using one for well over 20 years. So right now I'm here to tell you about a source for CPAPs and CPAP supplies here in the Atlanta area. CPAPs, etc. They're in Alpharetta. They have whatever you need. Roddy and Sharon are your CPAP experts, and they'll ship nationwide. More information, CPAPs.com.
The stories that matter to you. These are your Georgia headlines.
A religious freedom bill is moving through the Georgia General Assembly and stirring up controversy. The bill aims to allow Georgians to exercise their religious faith without federal, state, and local government intrusion. Critics of the bill claim it could be used to discriminate against minorities without an anti-discrimination clause. Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene is calling on the heads of NPR and PBS at an upcoming DOJ congressional hearing next week. Greene is asking the CEOs to justify their need to be funded by taxpayer dollars and to explain bias in their reporting. Cobb County's Town Center Mall narrowly avoided an auction sale after the owners paid nearly $1 million in overdue property taxes. This follows a power outage in January due to unpaid bills. Today's weather: morning showers are moving through the metro area, and it'll be cooler this afternoon in the high 40s. Tomorrow will be warmer and sunny with a high of 68. With your headlines, I'm Jerry Payne.
8 o'clock hour brought to you by Central Heating and Air Conditioning and your Atlanta carrier experts. 770-GET-HEAT, centralheat.com. Second generation, family-owned company since 1947. They will not treat you like a number. Chuck and his team are terrific. Los uses them. I use them. They do top-notch work. 770-GET-HEAT, centralheat.com. So we've talked a lot about the tournament that starts. Georgia's playing at 4 this afternoon, I think Dre said. There's another date that I want to throw out to you that I'm hopeful for this date. July 25th is a date that could make or break my belief in movies. Ooh. Do y'all know about July 25th? Do y'all know what's coming out on July 25th?
Are we getting a second movie, a follow-up to a classic?
Yes.
Okay, yes. No, it's gonna suck.
I know, and I don't want it to, Lowe's. Happy Gilmore 2 comes out that day, and I don't want it to suck. I want it to be good. I want it to be the Top Gun Maverick of this year, because that movie turned out to be just as good, in my opinion, just as good as the original Top Gun. It had the same flavor. It was great. It wasn't a rehash of all the same scenes. Did it give and pay tribute to old scenes? Yes, it did. They played a different game. It wasn't was it volleyball in the original? They were playing volleyball on the beach, and instead they had a beach football game going. Yeah, exactly. So it was reminiscent of the old one. Yes, it was the nostalgia was awesome. It worked. And I'm so hopeful that Happy Gilmore 2 will be that. And the way I live my life, and a lot of people say it's not good for me to do this, is to expect the worst, hope for the best. And I'm putting myself out there. I'm hoping that I'm expecting Happy Gilmore 2 to be good. And my heart, I know it's going to get broken. I know it is. It will not be. For instance, the follow-up to Coming America was awful.
The latest Beverly Hills Cop.
Awful.
I will point out. Okay, so Adam Sandler, when he signed that deal with Netflix, and they gave you the movies with him and Jennifer Aniston, like my family really likes those movies. I haven't watched them, but they find them very funny.
Okay.
That Hustle movie where he's a basketball scout,
that
movie's actually really solid.
Yeah, I saw a little bit. I didn't get to see the whole thing.
That one's solid.
Because I watched the other one, too. Was it
Uncut Gems?
Uncut Gems.
Yeah.
And I didn't love that one.
I get it. It's not for everybody. It's not, I can't watch it again. I enjoyed it, but I was like, man, if you have any sort of little bit of anxiety in this world or things kind of bother you a little bit, it's like when I saw the other day, American History X was on FX.
Great
That's a movie that I'll watch one time and one time only because it's so uncomfortable.
Oh, but it's a good one.
It's a great movie.
Yeah, but I can see why it wouldn't be one that you go back to a lot. I've seen that one a couple times since it came out, and it's one of those that it pauses you for a little while. Oh. But I follow this great, at least great for me, because I love baseball so much. Whether I love going to watch the little guys play at like Wills Park or Newtown Park and Johns Creek or wherever. I like going to watch my nephews play. I love watching middle school baseball. I love watching high school baseball. I love college baseball. I love minor league baseball. I love pro baseball. I'm a baseball guy. I love it. And there's a great Twitter account, X account called @BBGreatMoments. And there's a dude that's in a batting cage, and he said, I'm getting ready for the season. And next to me is the guy getting ready for hockey tryouts. It's a dude taking baseballs to the chest.
It's still a funny moment in the original one where he's
so good.
That one hurt.
But I'm okay. It's so brilliant. I want it to be good. I'm afraid it's not. They say Paige Sparniak has got a cameo in there, and all the current golfers cameos.
Do you realize, guy, because I didn't know this, I had to check it out. I was listening to Rogan with Bert Kreischer yesterday. Do you know that Paige has more followers on X than Tiger Woods does?
It's not a surprise to me.
Because when you look like that, people tend to follow you.
Yes, yeah. And there was a question posed that I saw, it's just... as you scroll through, you see it, but I thought it was a good question, and it was: does this movie being a failure, Happy Gilmore 2, damage the legacy that Adam Sandler has with Happy Gilmore? And I say no, because people will see it and then they'll just dismiss it and they'll go back to continually loving the original. I mean, I don't think it diminishes. Do I think it's a good idea if it sucks? No, it would be awful. But I don't think it takes away from the original how good it was.
You just have to make something that's standalone with a little bit of nostalgia. If Top Gun Maverick taught you anything, you could watch Top Gun Maverick without seeing the first movie, because that's how my kids consumed it, and they thought it was a great movie. Now, did it tug on their heartstrings the way it tugged on mine? No. But it was still a fun ride.
Can I give you another one that's like that? It's the Creed movies that are so good.
Yes, I love the Creed 1 and 2. I can watch anytime.
Me too. Never turn them off. When my son's home, when Jacob's home from college, that's what we did recently. His most recent trip home, it just happened to be on one of the channels, whatever it was, and they were running both of them back to back, and we sat there and watched both of them.
We got to watch
because they're that good.
You don't know if he's going to be able to, beat Victor Drago.
Yes,
he's got to stand up to the awesome power of Victor Drago.
But look at because you're talking about nostalgia and what that does, right? It lures you in, and for Jacob, he's seen all the Rockies and he loves them, so it was even nostalgic for him as a 20-year-old. But it had just enough of the nostalgia and then the actual good writing of a new story that, like you were describing with your daughters, you can just jump in anytime, anywhere, and there it is, and you're good.
Ivan Drago and Rocky sharing a ring for the first time in 40 years. I mean, there's a little stuff like you're like, okay, you got me. I'm in.
And final thought on this. When we went because I went and saw Top Gun Maverick in the theater. That's how much I was into it and wanted it to be good, and I still feel that I would feel that way about Happy Gilmore, even though I'm gonna get my heart broken.
It's gonna happen.
All right. I was sitting there, and as they start, the movie, all the previews are done, and the movie's coming on, you finally get it, and I elbow my wife Laura, and I say, they must start with Danger Zone, the song. And sure enough, as it was like I was walking up a ramp on a country record. and trying to hit the post right before the guy sings. And as soon as I'm saying it, they must use Danger Zone. It was, I was like, oh, this is going to be great. I knew it was going to be great from that moment.
Well, they weren't running from it.
That's right.
They were going to make sure they gave you what you were going to get.
Amen to that.
Tug, I haven't seen the trailers. Is Shooter McGavin in Happy Gilmore 2?
Yeah.
Fantastic.
And because he's got a great Twitter account, too, if you keep up with, I think it's just at Shooter McGavin. And I can't remember the guy's name that plays the part, but he hams it up as Shooter on there all the time. And he was like, oh, he's already, throwing darts at Happy Gilmore and saying, oh, he didn't get enough time in the trailer. It's great. He's building it perfectly.
You're in big trouble, though, pal. I eat pieces of shit like you for breakfast.
You eat pieces of shit for breakfast?
No. One of the greatest of all time. God, I love that line. And I love that movie. We're getting good laughs, and that's what, look, in a world that seems chaotic all the time, that's what you want. And that's what late night TV is supposed to be, right? Laughs. That's what Gutfeld is. I don't get to see Greg Gutfeld a lot, but when I do, he's always funny. And Jimmy Kimmel used to be funny. And now, Los, he's not, and he's almost got a little bit of diabolical in there.
Jimmy Kimmel, when he was doing the Man Show with Adam Carolla, skits are funny show.
So good.
And then to see the way that his career took off. And Carolla, obviously a man after our own hearts. He went and did radio in L.A. and did Loveline for forever and just continued that. He was like the first real podcaster who showed you can do it and make a living out of it. And Jimmy Kimmel obviously went further into entertainment and late nights, and obviously that's very impressive what he's been able to put together. But it feels like if you want to have a list of broken people from Donald Trump, Jimmy Kimmel's one of them, because it's perverted what was typically a lot of fun. Jimmy Kimmel making really jokes is supposed to be fun. I want you to take a listen as he's getting into talking about these domestic terrorist acts, and listen to how he turns it into it's totally fine.
Down other than the stock market for a change. Our co-president, Elon Musk, sent a SpaceX vehicle to bring the astronauts back, and when they landed, he fired them immediately upon landing. Tesla stock is way down, almost disastrously so. People have been vandalizing Tesla vehicles, new Tesla vehicles. Please don't vandalize. Don't ever vandalize Tesla vehicles. And so...
and there's the smirk of, just keep at this violence. I'm not trying to be a fuddy-duddy with all of this, because I do like the
Because that's the last
joke.
thing you are, dude. I mean, and I'll come to your defense on that. That's the last thing that you are.
Yeah, I do enjoy the joke where he says they landed and he immediately fired all of them.
Yeah,
that's a funny joke. That is really good. But what always is now happening with Jimmy Kimmel is there's this layer of politics where the ugly side of it then gets thrown in your face, of him showing you, I'm advocating for violence. I'm advocating for property destruction. To see those trained SEALs start clapping about a stock price going down, listen, you ain't hurting Elon Musk. We can all pretend that that's going to hurt Elon Musk. This is how we're going to get him.
You're hurting American workers.
You're hurting American workers. But even if you think that that's what it's really going to do, the problem is 2 years ago, y'all were all screaming and yelling about how awesome it was that you got a Tesla and how you were saving the world.
But it was never, as we've discussed, it was never about that.
But at the time, that was their way of showing, I care more than you do. Here's my mask. Here's my Tesla. Here's my black flag for BLM. Here's my Ukrainian flag. Here's who I stand with, whoever you told me to stand with this day. To have then your morals and beliefs and values to show just how hollow they are, that you're taking the world's richest man who is trying to and in his case, save humanity. He believes we need another planet. We need to spread out. You're now burning the property down of what he and his group helped put together. Which is crazy, because
everybody thinks that fraud, waste, and abuse is bad. Let's take it and put it in a different context. Let's say it's your little league, your rec department, and they're taking the sign up, what is it, $25 or whatever to have your 5-year-old play t-ball, and they're taking that $25 instead of buying chalk to line the fields or to repair the scoreboard. They're taking all those $25 sign up fees and they're throwing parties at Hooters. People will be like, well, you can't do that. That's awful. And when Elon Musk goes to the federal government, which you are forced to send your money to, you don't have the option of not signing up for taxes. You're forced to pay taxes. And Elon Musk is going, hey, I'm just uncovering, as you described earlier, just the worst of the worst waste and abuse. And they're raising hell. They're ready to burn down Tesla dealerships for a man that's pointing out your money being wasted. Make it make sense, Los.
You can't make it make sense. It's because they're instructed and they wait on a download. Now that we've cut more than $100 billion in waste, fraud, and abuse from this government, and a lot of these were just contracts that we're choosing not to renew. That's it. It's not like in many cases you're sitting back and saying, well, we just fired all these people. Yeah, that's happened. But in a lot of cases, we're not renewing this contract so that we're not sending $40 million or even $21 million to Iraq to create Sesame Street. Okay, like that's the sort of contracts you're not continuing with. Now that you've saved the American taxpayer $100 billion without affecting their lifestyle in the slightest, they've been told by their paymasters and their masters, you have to revolt against this person because he's possibly going to cost us our elections. He's going to cost us our power.
And they've done it. It's unbelievable, man. It really is remarkable. I'm not even an EV guy. I've been vocal about it. I mean, I'm not against EV. I don't have a desire at this point in my life to have an EV. I've never said EVs are bad. I never said you shouldn't drive an EV. I just said don't sell me the marketing campaign that EVs are good, right? That was what we had to believe. That's what you were forced to believe if you listen to network news. I knew better. You knew better. We all knew better. And these people have taken that and wadded it up, thrown it away. It's not about the environment. It's about damaging someone who's saving us money. It will never make sense to you, me, Los. It'll never make sense to anybody. And yet it's going to continue. As we continue on Extra 106.3, finding a conservative girl, like if you've got a son like I do, and you hope one day that he gets married and gets a job, has a family, finding a conservative girl these days is a lot like finding a lot of oysters, but not a lot of pearls. Next on the Morning Extra.
The latest sports news, powered by 680 The Fan, and driven to extra listeners by RBM of Atlanta in Sandy Springs, Atlanta's Mercedes-Benz connection since 1964.
Good morning. Here are your sports headlines for Thursday, March 20th. The Field of 64 gets underway this afternoon, this unofficial American holiday, as the men's college basketball tournament will begin. We'll start with 9th-ranked Creighton and 8th-ranked Louisville. That'll get action underway in the South region at 12:10. 13-seeded High Point will play 4th-seeded Purdue in the Midwest region. That's a 12:40 tip-off. The final game of this opening couple of hours will be in the East region as 14th-ranked Montana plays 3rd-ranked Wisconsin. That is the 1:30 tip-off. From Northport, Braves spring training continues for one more week before the start of the regular season. The Braves host the Philadelphia Phillies today at 1:05. You can hear that game on our sister station's app, the all-new 680 The Fan. With your sports headlines, I'm Carlos Medina. Well, it starts there and it warms up right back here. Let's talk about Kawasaki and Howard Brothers. Hey, it's Los this morning. The grass is starting to grow. It's starting to get warmer out there, and you are going to need equipment that's going to be ready for this spring. Spring is ready to bring it. Are you ready to bring it as well? Keep your products running strong with Kawasaki genuine parts. From air filters to oil, from blades to belts, professionals know this. High-end homeowners know this. You got to take care of your equipment if you want your equipment to function. Kawasaki parts are built for performance and trusted to keep your equipment in peak condition all spring long. Don't let downtime slow your projects. Get your Kawasaki parts at Howard Brothers. The grass is always greener when you take care of it with Kawasaki and with Howard Brothers.
Insurance companies know that you don't know a lot about the law, so maybe it would be better just to let your lawyer make the call to the insurance company when there's a problem. David Van Sant should be that lawyer. He used to work for the insurance company. He knows who to call, what to say, and he has your best interest at heart. Plus, if you don't get paid, either does he. Van Sant Law, 855 GA Injury, or VanSantLaw.com.
Are you tired of dealing with drafty, inefficient windows? Do you have certain rooms in the house that you can't keep cool in the summer or warm in the winter? Hi, I'm Dan Watkins with All Four Seasons Garage Entry Doors and Windows. It's time to upgrade these old windows. Replace them with double-pane, beautiful, energy-efficient windows. Your new windows will help you regulate a perfect temperature throughout your house. Start saving big money on your energy bills and improve the curb appeal of your home. Give us a call today at 770-517-7078.
You know the old expression, I love it when a plan comes together? Well, with our First Liberty Notes, this has been so true. Hello, I'm Brant Frost, founder of First Liberty Building and Loan. You hear about our family's company all the time right here on the station. For over 30 years, we've been the local lender who said yes when the big banks say no. A couple of months ago, we opened up our First Liberty Notes program to Main Street investors just like you, and the response has been just incredible. Folks from airline pilots to physicians to even pastors are now earning 8 to 13% interest rates while helping to fuel the growth of local small businesses. If you're a qualified investor with a minimum of $25,000, you too could be earning 8 to 13% interest. We'd love to have you join our First Liberty family today. Go to FirstLibertyGA.com and see if our First Liberty Notes are right for you. Go to FirstLibertyGA.com. That's FirstLibertyGA.com.
First Liberty Notes are not obligations of or guaranteed by any financial institution and are not secured by any collateral. They are not FDIC insured or guaranteed by any government agency. You could lose money. SEC accredited investor status must be verified. Securities not offered in any jurisdiction in which it is unlawful.
It's here. The factory-authorized Liberty Safe truckload clearance event. For 3 days only, the Safe Market and Liberty Safes of Atlanta is slashing prices by up to 40% on top-quality American-made safes. Gun safes, home security safes, all must be sold. With 3 convenient locations, there's never been a better time to buy. Thursday, March 20th through Saturday, March 22nd only. Shop online or come into any of our 3 stores for more savings. Call 770-242-0055 or visit thesafemarket.com. 770-242-0055.
Calling all contractors. Stovall & Company Wholesale Landscape Supply is here for you.
We've been family owned and operated for more than 75 years, and we just opened our 11th location in Canton, Georgia.
We are proud to provide all your wholesale irrigation, nursery, and landscape supply needs.
We are partnered with Keystone Hardscape to offer a wide variety of products to enhance any outdoor living space.
Here at Stovall, we have it all. Check us out at StovallInc.com or visit any of our convenient locations throughout North Georgia.
The Extra 106.3 app is your live connection to the station, streaming free across Georgia. But it's also loaded with all our original shows and podcasts. Listen to exclusive shows from Janelle King, Ben Burnett, and so many more. Grab the Extra 106.3 app now and start streaming.
Tug and Los until 10 on the Morning Extra. So I feel very fortunate. My son is dating a soccer player down here at the College of Charleston. Sweet girl, sweet family. We've been fortunate enough to meet her parents at at one of their soccer games that we went to cheer on. Faithful, which is important to us. Just a really even-keeled, well-spoken, everything you want in a mate for your child. We couldn't ask for more. It's great. She's a sweetheart. But apparently, Los, she is like 1 in a million. My son, he needs to play the lottery because his odds of winning the lottery when he's doing this and finding the right girl that checks all the boxes for us is almost unheard of.
Yeah, the numbers. This was a poll that was out as of yesterday, and not to get like too deep into the weeds of all of this, but what we basically have right now in all of society, this is according to some of the voters' opinions. When you look at the difference in white men versus white women, whether it's education level or education, they could not be in a different place politically. They're like the idea that your son went to a university and met a girl who actually has these conservative beliefs. That's a rarity, according to this poll.
That's what I'm saying. Like, he won the lottery. He should go to Las Vegas. He should go to Cherokee, North Carolina, where our sister station, The Fan, is. He should go and play the lottery because he's bound to hit if he's found this diamond in the rough.
So, I'll give you an example. When it comes to voters' opinions, the voting opinion of white women with no college degree, Donald Trump is a plus 14. If they have a college degree, if they're college educated, it's a minus 38. All right? So, but here's the difference. White men with a college degree, Donald Trump +1. White men no degree, +41. You know who white women with a college degree, who they look at the very best of all the people that are out there? Zelensky, +53.
Of course. They're also the ones with their Facebook, the flag on their Facebook page, and they're probably rocking a mask. They're doing all the things. They're probably leading the charge at some sort of gala to set Teslas on fire.
No, I think about this all the time. Like, am I going to be sending my daughters off to some place where they can just come back and hate me?
Dude, I wasn't going to bring it up, but I'm glad you did.
It's true. The numbers say this is, and you have to give them the background. And I think the fact that the girl that your son is seeing, because she's a collegiate athlete, that kind of changes.
That's the differentiator.
That's the meritocracy. You got to earn it. That I think is the big difference.
I agree with you. And your girls are doing the exact same thing. They compete. They want to earn it. They don't want it to be handed out. And that I know people. Neil Bortz is guilty of it, talking about how sports, and he's a sports fan for the most part. I know he loves Texas A&M, but he comes down on people that keep up with sports too much. And I'm not saying that should be your entire life in and out. I want Jacob to be more than a college athlete. I want him to be a God-feared man. I want him to be a protector of this girlfriend that maybe one day might be a family member. I'm not trying to push things or rush anything, but I want him to be more than just sports. But I want that sports background to propel him. Those ups and downs, those mountains and valleys. And I know you've seen it with your daughter. When they win when they're not supposed to, or they lose and they have to learn to bounce back. Those are life skills that are irreplaceable. And I think sports gives a front row seat to where many other activities do not.
I think that when it comes to guys I played like college ball with, I think we're all wired a little differently. And some guys went on to have quite a bit of success. Some guys just, kind of just put it this way. There's no one who's a failure because they knew how to compete.
Yeah.
It's like,
and we'll do that in life.
Like some guys went on to be Fort Worth police officers, and that's outstanding. Some guys went on to work in the energy industry within Dallas, and they've done very well. But all of it was, you got to compete. You got to be ready, and you've got to be accountable. And I think that is really what pushes you into, hey, maybe this girl's a little bit more conservative. Whereas if there are no rules, there is no accountability, and you're allowed to be a purely emotional being, well, I think that really ends up falling more into what we see on the other side.
Yes.
That's what the numbers say, and the numbers have been kind of on.
It's hard to argue, and you can see it. I mean, we've talked about this before. Within a few seconds, specifically if it's a liberal woman, within a few seconds her belief system. They are not afraid to share it with you, and they want you to know it. Like, I never open the door and say, hey, nice to meet you, I'm conservative Tug. I never do that.
You should.
I'm
going to get you a shirt that just says conservative Tug.
Hi, I'm conservative Tug.
Hi, I'm conservative Tug.
But do you know what I'm talking about? Like, liberal women cannot wait to tell you. They're like CrossFitters. They can't wait to tell you their politics.
It's not like I'm volunteering veganism to people, but yes, I'm a CrossFitter. You know that I'm a CrossFitter? Are you aware that I'm a CrossFitter? But I'll give you an example. So in this poll, DEI, that's the question. Okay, how is it DEI viewed by these groups? If you look at white men, no degree, it's a -58. If you look at white men, college, -38.
Still.
White women, college, -4. So they don't overwhelmingly endorse it. They don't really hate it.
But they're not opposed to it either.
Exactly. It's not in the big negative category like it is with men.
Wow. This is so revealing. And not revealing because we didn't know. Again, it's out there. It's clear.
Quantify it somehow, This is quantifying it.
This puts a number figure to it, so it's easy to understand.
How about this? Doge. What is your view of Doge? White men, no degree, +31. White men, college degree, -2. White women, college degree, -39.
Wow. But what's the matter with the dudes that are in college? Like, what? Why do they hate savings?
And by the way, they're only -2, which again, that's still in that area of like, all right, they ain't on board. They're not. they are propagandized every single day. And so many of them will just go along to get along, whereas dudes that are working in the real world with no degree, man, they're not looking to go along to get along. They're going to tell you exactly. If you want to know your standing in a place, be around some dudes that aren't worried about HR.
Yes, that's right. They will tell you. And that's the fun-loving nature of just dudes to begin with. And it's funny because those people that would be offended by that fun-loving nature are usually the ones that are dating those crazy lefty loony women.
Oh, grab my pearls. I can't believe you said that about me.
How could you? When we continue on Extra 106.3, we got a Neil Bortz report and a Fox News update coming your way. 9 o'clock hour brought to you by Southern Exteriors, 8779 Southern, southernexteriors.co. The success of America relies on these type of jobs. Next on Extra 106.3.
Time for the Bortz Report, exclusively on Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station, Extra 106.3.
Every Wednesday afternoon at our golf club, the octogenarian nine holers meet for lunch and then 9 holes of golf. Retired life. We have a software developer, a criminal defense attorney, a trucking company owner, and me. Sometimes, as we did yesterday, we'll talk about politics. There's not a Democrat voter among us. Come on, we live in Naples, a county with not one single Democrat elected official. And yesterday, the 2 biggest topics that we deemed worthy of discussion were Joe Biden's auto pen and the American media. I know you want to know what we thought, so here goes. Auto pen. We believe that taking into consideration Joe Biden's excessively diminished mental capacity, everything signed by Otto Penn ought to be subject to investigation. That includes all of the pardons, especially Hunter Biden. There are grounds to rescind all of them. The grounds are simple. Any contract signed by a person who is not mentally competent should be and is null and void. Even if that person is the President of the United States, then it comes to the media. Members of the American media establishment, which is largely Democrat, largely meaning about 90% plus, knew full well that Joe Biden was mentally incompetent, but they hid it. They did not tell us. They did not want to empower whoever might be running against him in the next election. They were complicit. Donald Trump had to beat the Democrat Party machine and the American Democrat machine. Now he's having to fight the American federal judge cartel. Maybe we ought to put the Wednesday afternoon meetings of the octogenarian nine holders on YouTube. I'll work on that. Neil Bortz, Extra 106.3.
When you buy a Subaru from Subaru of Gwinnett, you're buying more than a vehicle. You're buying safety for your family, an investment that will hold its value, and something that will last a long time. You're buying trust. For a limited time, celebrate all the 2025 models during the Subaru A Lot to Love event, now through March 31st. Whether you're looking to match your adventurous spirit with the 2025 Subaru Outback or lean on the reliability of the 2025 Subaru Forester, Subaru of Gwinnett has the perfect fit for your family. You'll love exploring in the 2025 Subaru Crosstrek, and the 2025 Subaru Legacy is what happens when we put the best of Subaru into a sedan. Plus, every Subaru model comes equipped with standard symmetrical all-wheel drive. Subaru of Gwinnett has been your hometown dealership for years, and we're proud to be here to help your family find a Subaru to love for years to come. And our award-winning service department is here to ensure you've always got someone to lean on and trust when you need us. Stop in for a test drive on Satellite Boulevard in Duluth and meet our incredible staff, or start your shopping online at SubaruofGwinnett.com.
Hey, Georgia neighbors, it's time to expect more from your Medicare Advantage. Discover Sonder Health's custom plans tailored just for Georgians. Saunders offers unique benefits, including special plans for those living with chronic conditions. Some plans even come with grocery or gas benefits to support your overall well-being. Sonder Health makes it easy to get the coverage you need. See for yourself what today's Medicare Advantage can do for you. Visit SonderHealthPlans.com, a healthier state of life. Sonder Health Plans is an HMO and PPO with Medicare contracts. Enrollment in Sonder Health Plans depends on contract renewal.
WFOM and W292EV Marietta, a Dickey broadcasting station. The 9 a.m. hour is presented by Southern Exteriors. Quality and precision you can rely on.
Let the states handle it. I'm Chris Foster, Fox News. President Trump's moving forward with plans to break up the federal education department. He has an education event and executive order signing scheduled at the White House this afternoon.
Executive order will not be enough to get rid of the Department of Education, which was established in 1979 in Jimmy Carter's last year in office. Under Article 2 of the Constitution, Congress will need to sign off on abolishing it. Earlier this week, Trump's Education Secretary Linda McMahon visited 3 schools in Florida to learn more about school choice.
It's Fox's Lucas Tomlinson. At least 85 Palestinians were reported killed in Israeli airstrikes overnight into today in Gaza. Rockets were fired back the other way.
Air raid sirens blared as 3 rockets were launched from Gaza into Israel. Hamas said it was behind them, calling the launches a first response to what it sees as Israel's violation of the ceasefire. Israel's carried out a wave of airstrikes on Gaza in the past few days, reportedly killing hundreds, and has since begun a ground operation in the northern part of the Strip. The Israelis accused Hamas of rejecting offers to extend the ceasefire and release hostages. No one was hurt in the rocket attack on Israel. Jonathan Savage, Fox News.
Trump administration's given until noon today to provide more details about deportation flights a judge ordered stopped or turned around.
The judge wrote yesterday that these questions must be answered to determine if it intentionally defied court orders, and if so, quote, what the consequences should be. They pertain to the timing of weekend deportation flights and the status of those on board. Some of these questions were already answered earlier this week, apparently not to the judge's liking or satisfaction, but they did claim, the DOJ, that no order was defied because the 2 flights containing 261 alleged gang members expelled using the Alien Enemies Act took off hours before the judge issued a written order halting the deportations.
Fox's Alexandria Hoff, a Georgetown University researcher from India, is picked up for deportation, accused of promoting anti-Semitism on social media. America's listening to Fox News.
Are you having trouble hearing? Hearing loss can devastate the quality of your life. Now, there's an affordable fix for you or your loved one. Rated the best hearing aids of 2025 by Forbes Health, Audion Hearing has the highest quality hearing aids at the lowest prices, just $189.
I actually like them better than my old $5,000 hearing aids.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed.
Join over 1 million happy customers by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
Only 2 things in life are certain: death and taxes. How about one more? Switch from Verizon, AT&T, or T-Mobile to cut your bill in half with Pure Talk. For just $25 a month, get unlimited talk, text, and 5 gigs of data on America's most dependable 5G network. Switching is easy. Dial pound 250 and say keyword Pure Talk to make the switch, and you'll save an additional 50% off your first month. Pure Talk. Wireless by Americans, for Americans.
Finally, there is conservative talk in Atlanta, Georgia.
Tug and Los until 10, along with Dre on the board, here on Extra 106.3. Playing basketball, that's exactly right. I'm looking forward to seeing Georgia play around 4 o'clock this afternoon. The least productive days of the year that Los brought up, and everybody knows it. Just embrace it. Don't be mad about it. Like, if you're not into basketball, don't be mad about it. If you're a boss, don't be mad about it. Participate. This is a perfect time to build that team camaraderie, to build a office unity. And then that way, on days that work needs to get done, you can say, hey, man, that's what we need to get done. And everybody's going to be like, man, this is the guy I want to work for right here. This is the guy.
I have some bad personal news to report. I've been informed that I am in charge of taking my daughter to the volleyball practice this afternoon, this evening.
Oh.
I have told my wife that because of this, I do intend to drop her off and head to the sports bar.
That's right. Exactly. You've caused this, ma'am.
You have caused this. This is not me. This is not my doing here.
You have forced my hand.
I mean, you made me get a vasectomy. Now this.
Yeah. So I don't know. What else do you want from me?
What do you want from me? There's only one thing in this world that made me truly dangerous, and that is that I could get you pregnant. And now I have nothing.
I've been neutered. All because of you. You've done this. You made me sit on a bag of peas. You made me watch basketball all day. You did this.
That's right.
I love it. But do you have any, I don't know, do you have any projection for that Georgia game? Because as I told you, my buddy who lives down here in South Carolina is his son and my son played ball together at College of Charleston, and he's a Gonzaga grad. So, I mean, he's just blowing me up in the last few days. And I just said, look, man, I always expect the worst, hope for the best. It's not a great way of living, and it's not good for your blood pressure and all that sort of stuff. But what do you think's coming out of this game? Because I do expect Gonzaga to win.
Going back to your love of Rocky movies, do you remember what the prediction was from Clubber Lang?
He was going to beat. I don't remember the exact wording, but I remember he was like, "I'm going to beat you down."
He says, "What's your prediction for the fight?" And he goes, "Pain."
Yeah, that's it. Yes, exactly.
That is what's going to happen. Gonzaga's a better team.
Yeah, no, I know that.
They're just a better team. They've been to the Sweet 16 now. What is it? 8 straight years.
Yes. Right, they're a better team. So,
but you are playing in the best conference in America. But also, you did see Texas go down to Xavier last night.
I know that. I know all that's true. And it depends on which Georgia team shows up. Because if it's the Georgia team that competes with Auburn, number 1 in the nation, then you got a shot. But if it's the Georgia team that shows up and just, messes up the bed, then you get what you get. Which is what I just want it to be competitive. Can it just be a good game? I don't expect a win. Just make it entertaining until the end. That's what I'm looking for.
That's what I'm looking at. Every one of these games, I'm not invested in them financially in any way. I'm not cheering for any team in any way. I just want good games and good finishes.
No, that's right. John Smoltz taught me that. And for years and years and years, I rejected his point of view. You know how people would say the Braves, squandered so many opportunities to win more World Series in the 90s when they were just this dominant force? John Smoltz used to come out probably still does. He used to say, still says, that the Braves gave you a reason to watch every game, a reason to cheer every year. Did we win as many World Series as we wanted? No, of course not. But we were always in it. We were always competitive. And it's something that you've kind of shared with me, too. That's because you do this with the Cowboys. Make sure it's competitive. There's only one winner at the end. Give me a good run. And that's truly the way it should be. That's the way you should be watching the games. Are you hopeful they win it all? Yes. But are they going to every year? No. John Smoltz is exactly right, and I disagreed with him for years and years and years.
Just keep me in it. Give me a run. Like last summer. Last summer, I was not under any impression that the Atlanta Braves were going to win the World Series. Now, they were a playoff team, so you have a chance. You never know. But given the injuries, I thought it was kind of a small miracle they got to 89 wins and made it to the playoffs and were able to get to that part of the season. That typically does not happen. It's about the run. And so even next week when the Braves start, I'm going to say for the next 6 months, give me something to watch almost every night that I'm going to enjoy.
So in watching the Braves for me is so nostalgic because that's what I did coming up with my daddy watching it on TBS.
Before he left to go find cigarettes and never came home?
One night.
Wasn't that in a country song?
Yes. If it's not, it should be. No, but it's so nostalgic for me. And there's a whole Twitter site that I follow. It's like the Braves on TBS. And they post those old classic TBS promos and pieces of games when it was Skip Carey and Pete Van Wieren. And, just the original, or at least for me, the original cast of everybody, calling those games. And I can hear those voices so vividly.
I still can too. Yeah.
So good. And that's why the Braves are so important to me. Because that's that link to me and my daddy, and that's my link to my growing up. So just make it competitive. Because I was a Braves fan when the Braves were not good in the 80s.
Oh, I watched quite a bit of those games during the summer.
Yeah, because you could watch it out in Texas.
Yeah.
The TBS was so prominent. That's why the Braves have pockets of fans all over the country. And that's why they used that whole America's team thing. I think they may have stolen that. But it
was accurate, though. I mean,
it was.
That's what it was.
It was so nice last night to that game started a little later, so it was a spring training game, not consequential, but just turning on the TV, sitting on the couch.
It puts you in the right frame of mind. It's comfort food. It's great. God, I love Braves baseball, and that's the whole point of bringing all that up is that I want the Bulldogs to be competitive against the Bulldogs.
Yeah, give me a good game this afternoon, this evening, and I'll be happy.
So the key to my happiness is a good game. The key to American success is the type of jobs that we're creating, Los. It can't be government jobs like it's been.
Yeah, the manufacturing jobs are so key. And we look at some of the numbers that have occurred where you were looking at it was supposed to be 0.1% growth in the manufacturing area when it came to last month. It ended up being 0.4, which, again, that's significantly more than projection. The manufacturing jobs in this country are coming back. The amount of companies that in order to avoid tariffs have stated already they plan to move in the United States and to continue their operations here in order to be able to create a product that can sell, that's going to fit within the margins better. This is all good because when you start creating manufacturing jobs, this isn't like driving for Uber Eats. No offense to anyone driving for Uber Eats, but if you're going to have a manufacturing job, typically it's going to have a decent amount of pay and it will have benefits that have been established with it. And so the more of those jobs you can create, that really shows the overall strength of our economy. So the more, if you want to know like the economic indicator of what's going on, look at how much we're growing in the manufacturing field. If that continues to go up, I think we're going to be in a pretty good place come summer into next fall.
I can't wait to see it. I'm not a rub your face in it kind of guy. You know,
I am. Let's do it.
I know. And I love that about you, right? It's just not it's not my personality.
I told you, here's what it was.
I don't have, but that's the thing. And I do the same thing in my own head. I don't have to say it. I just give them the look. Like when the subject comes up, I just give them that J.D. Vance type look where you kind of tilt your head and look.
The head.
You don't have to say anything. Everything's already been said, and they know it. That's the thing that I think is so great about that. And I do expect that manufacturing, just as you laid out, the manufacturing is coming back. I was just reading about Barrick Gold, a $45 billion Canadian company moving to the United States. You've seen Honda. They're moving their, I think, Civic EV manufacturing from Mexico to Indiana. It is happening. The Trump tariff strategy is working. You're seeing it reflected in all kinds of economic indicators, and that's exactly what we voted for. I sound like a broken record. Promises made, promises kept. If he can unleash the inferno that is the American economy, if he can change it from what Scott Bessent, the Treasury Secretary, said about it, it's brittle right now. If we can change that, if we can fortify that, the limit on the American economy, there is none. It's limitless.
I'll give you an example. In 2024, if you go look at the number of automotive jobs that were within the industry, automotive manufacturing, it was being cut by 0.5% every single month. That's how many jobs you were losing. It wasn't extreme job loss, but 0.5%, 0.5%, 0.5% every single month for 2024. What happened last month? Auto manufacturing up 8.5%.
Wow.
That's a huge jump in comparison to losing half. So basically, you ended up losing 6% over the course of the entirety of 2024, yet in 1 month, 8.5% went up.
Now, I know the left is cheering against the American economy, which is the most ignorant thing you could possibly do, because it's going to affect you in the long run when you do this. But these fools can't get out of their own way. They cheer against America, which is, again, awful. What they should be cheering for is this to work, because what does that do? Let's say Donald Trump creates millions of jobs, and every American that wants to work, that's willing to work, has the opportunity to work, and they do. And then there's more jobs than we can fill. What does that do? That opens the door for people to come to the United States legally and take jobs. It's good for everybody. It's accomplishing the goal that they say they want, to give people better opportunity.
If we were to enhance our manufacturing and our development of products and we needed more workers, the good part about that is that you will have American businesses reaching out to the administration and saying, we need more work visas to fulfill this. And by the way, those people don't come here to be paid under the table. They're brought in, and here's the wage they're going to get. And what we've found that when that work visa program does occur, it doesn't stagnate the wages of natural-born Americans.
That's exactly right. I was writing it down as you were saying, and it benefits American workers even more. So it's not these people who, like you said, getting paid under the table. We have the example of up in Ohio when, I can't remember the city, when the dude that owned the apartment complex and he owned the factory, he was able to pay a diminished wage, and that's all he employed was illegal immigrants. And of course he's in favor of it, because he's lining his pockets with indentured servants.
Yes.
That's not the America that we want as conservatives. We want that shining city on the hill, jobs for everybody, the rising tide that raises all ships, like it was in the first Trump administration.
Because you do not have an issue, in my opinion, when you have a small town, let's say it's a meat packing facility, because I believe that's what they had.
I think you're right, yeah.
And it was supposed to be at $15 an hour. Yet they had Haitian immigrants that were coming in. They were basically stacking and packing them into these apartment complexes and these houses that were owned by the meat market, the meat packing facility. And then they were basically paying them a reduced wage to do the same job that somebody else in town would get $15 for. Now, if they were work visaed and they were here in this legal fashion and they were getting $15 an hour because there was a shortage of workers, that doesn't affect the townspeople.
Right.
That's the big difference when it's, hey, we have 1,000 jobs, but there's 800 people in town that can fulfill them. We need 200 work visas, but everyone's still going to make the same money. That is when you don't stagnate. That's the win. That's the win for everybody all the way around.
How come you were able to articulate it so plain speak, so easy to understand, and you have an entire Democrat Party, an entire leftist communist that doesn't see that? They don't see the value. They're still trying to burn things down.
Because if they were to tell you the truth, you're less emotional.
Which is what they want. They want you emotional.
They need you
because
emotional.
they can control you that way. They can implement their horrible plans and their horrible ideas because it was never about taking care of America. They think America's horrible.
Well, I don't believe anything that I've brought up is, and here's the part. There's nothing that I brought up that's controversial in any way. This shouldn't be controversial at all. This should be about the American worker, and if we need more workers, let's legally get them here and then pay them what Americans are making. Not less, not under the table.
Which is what they say they want. And yet it's really not. That's the guise they use.
No,
because it's all about changing America into the socialist communist dream that nobody's ever done it as well as we can do it. We can make it work. And, of course, it won't. But that's what they do.
Well, if you and I owned a business, and our business was something that was relatively simple. We're packing particular boxes with stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't mean that I need a super high-end worker. Then it really does come down to cost. And if that is $14 to have a regular person from America who lives in the community to do that job, but I can find a way to weasel somebody in who will do it for $7, I'm getting after the Chamber of Commerce Republicans and saying, deliver me these people. This is why we need to be protected from ourselves and some of our own business interests in these regards.
And that's what J.D. Vance was bringing up when he talked about cheap labor and cheap prices of everything, diminishing innovation when it comes to work processes or even things that people build and buy. J.D. Vance, he was way ahead of that. Exactly what you're saying.
Yeah, that's the goal. He explained how globalism has hurt the American worker and the American economy.
That's right. Another thing that's happened is there's been deportations, and there's more to come. I love the fact that this is happening because if you don't rule in a way that shows that you are different from what has been happening, like closing the border, almost airtight, then nothing is going to change. You have to show people there is a new sheriff in town. There is a new person that is not going to put up with this nonsense. And specifically with like Muhammad Khalil, they try to make this about a free speech issue. It's not. If he were an American citizen, it would be completely different. They're trying to put the rights in. You've brought this up so many times and articulated it well, that he does not have the rights that American citizens have. He is encouraging violence and encouraging taking over school buildings and keeping Jewish kids from going to class. There's 1,000 things that you could list. There's another one. The Brown University professor that was deported, Rashida Aliyah, and I'm sure I'm pronouncing her name wrong, and I apologize for that. It's not intentional. But they present it this way, Los. Well, this is a woman that specializes in kidney transplants. We need her at Brown University.
Definitely. Absolutely.
We have to have because that's an expertise that we need. Yes, we do need that. But we don't need the expertise coming from a woman that is in favor of terrorism, that goes to the funerals of known terrorists, that run terrorist organizations. That's not what we're looking for. That's not who Americans want in the country. And that's why the polling numbers of taking people like this out of the United States, revoking their visa, revoking green cards because they're inciting violence. That's why the American people are so behind it. Is it great that she can help transplant kidneys? Yes, it is. But if she has ulterior motives for being in the United States, which I believe, and I think the Trump administration believes that she does, why would we invite that to our country?
I'm not saying that I can transplant a kidney, but as a doctor, if you gave me YouTube and like a month to kind of look some stuff up,
All right, Sully.
Maybe in a dog. Like, I could do it in maybe like some sort of small farm animal, and then we'll see what happens from there.
Okay, Sully. Because you say the same thing about landing.
I'll land a plane in the river. I'm not concerned about that.
Dude, I think it's different than the simulator. I believe, I'm with you. I want to believe you. But transplanting kidneys and landing airplanes in a river, it seems more complicated than just doing it.
Well, prove I can't.
What's that?
Prove I can't.
I can't do that.
All right,
I'm just saying it seems more complicated than you're making it.
And I won't hate America while doing it.
That I believe. That I do believe. Oh my gosh. Is this a Kimmer song? Listen to this. Turn it up, Trey.
A southern tale that's strange.
Oh no! This is my song.
Living free in a world so wide.
I could listen to this all day long. Good country music and songs about me too. God, I've never been so flattered in my whole life. When we continue on Extra 106.3, Tug and Los until 10, Newt Gingrich was right about John Roberts. I don't know if you heard what he said about John Roberts when he lashed out at Donald Trump and those left-wing activist judges. Newt nailed it, as he always does. We'll talk about it next. Got your headlines, too. The 9 o'clock hour is brought to you by Southern Exteriors, your home exterior solution since 1999. You can call them, get 10% off any job, windows, doors, siding, gutters, roofing, whatever you need done, they can do it 10% off or 0% financing for 12 months. Get it done today. Do not wait. 877-9-SOUTHERN, southernexteriors.co. This is the Morning Extra.
Mama's waiting with a wild crew, a southern tale that's strange but true. Oh, Tug's breaking free in a world so wide.
From the latest breaking news to the conservative voices you know and trust, your best new follow on social media is Extra 1063. We're at XTRA 1063 on Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, Threads, and LinkedIn, and pretty much any social media you scroll through every day. And we drop exclusive giveaways, new daily content, and the latest breaking news from Georgia and across this great nation. Interact with your favorite Extra personalities. Get the latest on our live events and so much more. Follow at Extra 1063 across all your social media and keep up with Atlanta's only conservative voice.
HGI Wealth Advisors is your financial defense partner, preparing you for the unexpected when the inevitable happens in life. Our tailored strategies empower families to build wealth, generate infinite income, and mitigate taxes, fees, and penalties. At HGI Wealth Advisors, we help you transfer wealth while creating an everlasting legacy. Our goal is to ensure you meet your financial needs today, tomorrow, and into retirement. Our experienced team is committed to ensuring your legacy endures for generations to come. Learn more at HGIWealthAdvisors.com.
Hey, Atlanta, it's Mark from the Safe House. We have a huge announcement. Atlanta Safe House is gouging the safe market in Georgia. This week only, March 20th through the 22nd, we have truckload savings, rebates up to $400, and sales tax-free on all gun safe. That's right, sales tax-free. Come check out the largest selection of safes in the Southeast. We offer the only certified delivery and installation crew in the Atlanta area. So let me say this again, truckload savings, rebates up to $400, and sales tax-free on all gun safes. So don't wait. Drop by the showroom at Ackworth or go to atlantasafehouse.com.
Atlanta Braves fans, May is Military Appreciation Month, and a great time to show your patriotism by purchasing a VIP table at The Warrior Alliance 4th Annual Veteran Impact Awards and Gala. The event will be held on Thursday, May 22nd at the Coca-Cola Roxy Theater at the Battery Atlanta and features dining, live entertainment, and Georgia-based veterans being honored for the significant contributions they are making in our communities. Purchase your VIP table today or make a donation at thewarrioralliance.org.
Don't miss the first MLB All-Star Week event at Truist Park as talent meets tradition in the 3rd annual HBCU Swingman Classic presented by T-Mobile and powered by the MLBPA Youth Development Foundation. Join fans, athletes, and alumni to watch Hall of Famer Ken Griffey Jr. shine a light on 50 of the best young ball players from HBCUs around the country on baseball's biggest stage, July 11th at 7 p.m. Get your tickets today at allstargame.com/swingman.
Stovall & Company is a locally owned and operated family business that has been around for 75 years, offering quality wholesale landscape supplies to North Georgia. We just opened our 11th location in Canton, Georgia at 9500 Union Hill. Stovall provides contractors with personalized expert service from special requests to direct job site delivery for hassle-free jobs and quality relationships at competitive prices. From plants to irrigation to hardscapes, Stovall truly has it all. Check us out at StovallInc.com.
It's March 20th, and this is your Fox Daily Snapshot. It's National Ravioli Day. This pasta dish is an Italian comfort food we can all enjoy, whether it's filled with cheese, meat, or vegetables. Ravioli are a staple on many dinner tables, so if you have the time, try making them from scratch or pick some up, fresh or frozen, from your local grocery store. The ravioli is also very versatile, equally as tasty in tomato sauce or in a broth. And if you're feeling a bit more adventurous, try them fried or toasted. Also on this date, in 1852, the book Uncle Tom's Cabin by Harriet Beecher Stowe is published. And in 1973, Pittsburgh Pirates outfielder Roberto Clemente is elected into the Baseball Hall of Fame 11 weeks after losing his life in a plane crash. If it's your birthday today, you share it with...
It's a beautiful day in this neighborhood. Beautiful day for
the man who hosted Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, Fred Rogers, born in 1928. I'm Tushar Saxena, and that's your Fox Daily Snapshot.
The stories that matter to you. These are your Georgia headlines.
A religious freedom bill is moving through the Georgia General Assembly and stirring up controversy. The bill aims to allow Georgians to exercise their religious faith without federal, state, and local government intrusion. Critics of the bill claim it could be used to discriminate against minorities without an anti-discrimination clause. Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene is calling on the heads of NPR and PBS at an upcoming DOJ congressional hearing next week. Greene is asking the CEOs to justify their need to be funded by taxpayer dollars and to explain bias in their reporting. Cobb County's Town Center Mall narrowly avoided an auction sale after the owners paid nearly $1 million in overdue property taxes. This follows a power outage in January due to unpaid bills. Today's weather: morning showers are moving through the metro area, and it'll be cooler this afternoon in the high 40s. Tomorrow will be warmer and sunny with a high of 68. With your headlines, I'm Jerry Payne.
A lot to look forward to today. Got basketball starting up at noon. And tomorrow there's something big that you can look forward to. Yes, there's more basketball. However, the Kimmer Show from 3 until 6 will be broadcasting live from Atlanta Safe House, 4435 Ackworth Industrial Drive, Northwest. Find them online, atlantasafehouse.com. They've got their Big Tent event, the tent sale that goes on from today through Saturday. Ton of savings all over the place. Rebates up to $400 and sales tax free on all gun safes. But more importantly, go hang out with the Kimmer from 3 until 6 tomorrow. Lowe's has told me that they're lining up some...
Yeah, he's got a plan. They have a hoop that they're lighting on fire, and Kimmer's going to jump through it gymnastic style.
Wow. I mean, I knew Kimmer... look, Kimmer is an active man for his age. He is super active. He's like Donald Trump, man. He's in there, he's up there in years, but you would never know it because of the way he... goes about his business. He's out. I saw a video that he posted feeding some horses the other day. He's out at the stables. He drives a Mustang. I think it's a Mustang Cobra, pretty sure. It sounds like a NASCAR that you would hear down at Atlanta Motor Speedway in Hampton. He goes to the gun range. My man lives an active lifestyle. I would have never guessed jumping through flaming hoops, gymnastic style, would have been part of what he does. But the fact that he's not willing, or that he's not afraid to do things out of his comfort zone, that's a reason you should go to Atlanta Safe House to see him just for that.
And even if you're a little concerned, do not be, because he does make weird noises when he moves. So like when you hear him jump through the hoop and you hear like, oh, that's not pain. That's just noises that he makes when he moves.
It's
like martial arts. Yes, like martial arts, exactly.
Yeah, or like those like in the Olympics where the dudes do the bench press and it's, incredible amounts of weight and they're like,
you hear grunts, yes. Yeah. Very similarly. When he moves, he does make noises, but that's just part of the art.
I want to see Kimmer do a myriad of things. The cartwheels, the backflips. I mean, it doesn't even seem like it could be real, but the fact that it is with
amazing.
The
ribbon on a stick?
Yes.
Watch it move beautifully?
Yes. And succinctly it's beautiful. Even if you've ever watched that in the Olympics, you know how elegant those style dances are, and to see Kimmer do them and it be locally. You know, the Olympics are in, Los Angeles. I think it's coming to Los Angeles soon. It was in Barcelona. It's been in exotic places. And to have it happen at Atlanta Safe House in Ackworth is marvelous. You just don't know what you're in for if you go over there.
It's going to be a wonderful day.
It is. I encourage you to, 3 to 6. Tomorrow, Atlanta Safe House. You can find them at atlantasafehouse.com. God bless Kimmer for going out of his way.
Thank you, Kimmer.
For doing the things that need to be done, for doing the things that that no one else is willing to do, and he is, and he's done it for so many years here in Atlanta. I just saw where the pyramids, and I know you're big into the pyramids, and you're big into documentaries and all that sort of stuff, that they may have built the pyramids on top of a river. And now they're saying that there's skeletons in the pyramids that were too active to be people that were of royalty. So maybe even the poor were buried into the pyramids. Have you seen this?
You want me to break this one down for you?
Yeah.
It's completely legitimate to think that the pyramids were actually a power generating source.
Yeah, that makes it with the river.
Based on having a river underneath it and using a form of a way to harness electricity, because there has not been one time where they've been able to find, like, for instance, when you would have Pharaoh's tombs, they were all decorated, hieroglyphics, treasures and all that sort of stuff that was there. The pyramids don't have any of that. The pyramids look like they had a functionality. Mm-hmm. They weren't there as like a burial ground.
Because that's been long considered the reason.
Yes.
Yeah. And so
I'm just glad you found this. I
was just reading about it last night and again this morning.
Sweet.
It just popped up, the whole skeletons inside. I think it's fascinating to think that forever we've thought, that was just for the royalty of Egyptian life, and then you're finding people that were possibly poor in there, and then the river. Like, I mean, the pyramids are amazing. I don't understand them. I don't pretend to understand them.
They're impossible. We can't.
But I'm fascinated by them.
We can't even build them now.
No, that's right. And it's unbelievable to think that 3,500 years ago that they're like, we got this.
No problem.
It's mind-boggling. It's an ancient wonder of the world because of these questions.
See, Jerry, this is how this sort of stuff happens. Tug takes a little bit of an interest, and now the conspiracy side of him starts to open up into, what else do I not know about? Or what else have I been lied to, like the Yeti?
Come on now.
At least we can start with the idea that the pyramids may have been used for something that is not part of the regular, chronological order of the advancement of man.
But I don't think that's a conspiratorial thing to think at all. That doesn't sound like conspiracy to me. It just sounds like curiosity.
If you can't tell me how they were built, and you can't explain to me that there are certain rocks that are in there that are more conducive to electricity than others.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, that's the part where you go, who built this thing?
Right. Yeah, I see what you're saying. I see where it could kick the door open to conspiracy, but I just think as we find out more, that's just part of the process. It just takes a long time to figure out what we don't know. I mean, putting people on Mars, it's going to take forever for us to do that. I mean, it's just a long process.
It's so mysterious that you have theories, but none of them have been able to be proven or really disproven.
Right. No, I'm fascinated by it. Always wanted to get to the pyramids. I obviously never been. I was able to see... it's cool. When I was in the Navy, stationed aboard USS South Carolina, and then John F. Kennedy, I was in relative peacetime, so we did go to a lot of port visits. And, you go through the Suez Canal and into the Red Sea and all those, across the Mediterranean and into the Arabian Sea and all those places. And you do get a bit of a history lesson. When I went to Greece, went to a bunch of the Greek islands, and to see those acropolises, I hope I said that right, the Acropolis, not the one in mainland Greece, the one that everybody knows, but those were built all over the place. And you see the writing, that were etched in this stone. nowadays we have, things that you can just drill it out, and it's not a big deal to put letters on a rock or a block. But, thousands of years ago it was, and it was perfect. That stuff's fascinating to me. I think most people are fascinated by that. And then get this, Los, because some of that stuff's so old, it's crumbling, it's falling down, and you would see these perfectly written words that spelled out something. I couldn't read it, obviously, in Greek, but it was broken, laying on the ground, so you didn't even know what pieces went together. But it was how elegant it looked, even in its worst condition. It was still fascinating to see. I think I took more away from the broken pieces laying on the ground than the ones that were still standing up.
I just love that you have found another rabbit hole, because right now I've been on cults. Like, I moved on from the pyramids.
Okay.
Like,
I'm late to the game.
I've been on cult leaders.
Okay.
The pyramids, I kind of have.
You're talking about Jim Jones and things?
Yes.
Okay.
That's where I'm at right now. That's where my personal time, outside of moving and NFL draft, it's cult leaders right now.
And volleyball. Don't forget volleyball.
Yeah, so that's always
taking the daughters. And basketball today. Dude, you got to.
It's a busy day. It's a busy time.
That's a lot to try. I wish I had more of that, being able to focus on. You
want to focus on cult leaders too?
Well, yeah. I'm not opposed to it.
I'm just glad that you're going down this road with the pyramids, and you're going to start learning.
You act like I have no interest in anything.
No, I'm just saying that typically when it comes to Tug is so busy that you don't have time for what I would consider to be kind of nonsense.
Yeah.
I have time for nonsense.
But I
find time for nonsense because it's important to me.
I'm interested in a myriad of things too, but you're right. I do fall into that trap like most people, that you get a bit and a piece of everything, and it's hard to focus on one thing. That's why I only finish half of books. That's why I only finish half of podcast series. That's why I only finish half of TV series and only watch once in a while. Because like everybody else, your time is so valuable, and it's scheduled down to the second, which is not good, and I know that. My wife calls me on that. My son calls me on that. I do need to do better about it, but I just feel like right now I'm in the prime earning years of my life. I'm going to go earn everything I can to hopefully put my wife and I in a situation where we, be comfortable maybe in retirement. I know comfort's not always the goal. The good book tells you it shouldn't be comfort is the goal, but I kind of like being comfortable.
I hope that you get to that point where you're happy on the other end, and yet you do lack the knowledge of what the pyramids were actually built for. And Jonestown, and any knowledge of UFOs or UAPs, and our friends the dolphins. I'm glad you knew about the dolphins, but as a Navy man, that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, you kind of pick up on stuff like that. But yeah, man, I'm fascinated by a lot of that stuff.
I think it's really cool. It's worth looking into.
Yeah, and there are great documentaries about it, and you're the king of documentaries. So I love when you send me stuff, and on the off chance I get to watch it, it's good. But I knew you would be interested in that, so I'm glad I brought it up.
Yes, thank you. I love it.
The thing that got my attention the other day was when Newt Gingrich, because who doesn't love Newt? He's a brilliant man. He's a conservative through and through, and I love what he said about John Roberts, because John Roberts lashed out at Donald Trump for calling for the impeachment of the judge that says you can't use the Aliens Criminal Act. Judge, what's his name? Has escaped me. Starts with a B.
Bosch, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, the guy that's daughter works in an NGO that probably, I'm alleging, probably gets money from USAID and all the. So he's shutting this down. And Newt Gingrich said of John Roberts, the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, if he wants to protect the integrity of the courts, intervene and overrule activist judges before the executive, being Donald Trump, and the legislative branches have to deal with their poor decisions. And I got to tell you, I'm no legal expert by any means. I shoot Sarah Hobson a note, or our new friend Phil Holloway. I shoot them notes all the time, asking them questions, hoping to get some insight so I can understand it. And when we talk about it, bring some sort of a point to the conversation. But I'll boil it down to this, Los. Based on what Newt Gingrich said, if you're bringing prison gang members back to the United States that have been labeled terrorists by the President of the United States, you're on the wrong side of the argument. That's as simple as I can put it.
We had some audio from CNN from the other day. We just didn't get to it. We ran out of time. And the argument that was being put forth from Scott Jennings was, You people are actually arguing for the sake of murderers and rapists and thieves.
It makes no sense. Make it. I used this earlier. I don't want to sound repetitive, but make it make sense because it doesn't.
It's just flimsy. It's almost like it's like fighting for the sake of fighting. Like, pick better battles. Like, I think about this in my own home.
They can't.
Am I going to, like, the other day, my wife put a whole ton of lemon on this one meal. If there's one thing I can't stand in this world, it's lemon. Like, it's the nastiest thing to me. I can't. Now, lemonade, a little different. It's got some sugars, decent tasting. But if you just put lemon all over a bunch of stuff, I'm going to gag. I can't handle it. Now, is that worth fighting over and telling my wife that this is a horse S meal? No. You just don't eat that part and you move on.
Yeah.
Okay, you got to pick better battles, man.
But
that's all I'm saying.
Hungry tonight?
What's that?
She saw me gag, and I go, it's just too much lemon.
Yes. But Los, you say pick better battles. They can't. Donald Trump has all the bright
He's
battles.
got all the high ground on them. So why, if you're going to pick better battles, then why not? If you want to try and criticize Donald Trump as of now, talk about what's going on with the Houthis. Talk about some of the indiscriminate cuts that you're concerned about and what it might cost you.
Yeah, those are valid questions.
Valid. Let's stay invalid. When you're arguing on behalf of murderers, rapists, and thieves,
that's not valid.
It doesn't work.
So Newt Gingrich, he's such a well-educated man. I'm a 3-time college dropout. He puts it so eloquently because he knows the law. Is Newt a lawyer? Is he? I think he is. Maybe. He
I'm
certainly
gonna find
knows
out.
the law. Yeah.
I know he's a speaker.
No doubt. And a great politician and a very wise man who understands things that I'll never understand, and he can write eloquently. I go to his website, Newt Gingrich, all the time. But he says it eloquently. I just make it simple. The American people do not want criminal gangs in their country. That's as easy to understand as apple pie. It's so easy to understand. And to go against that puts you on the defensive immediately. Like you're saying, you got the high ground on this. They're running up the hill and getting shot down because the American people are like, what are you talking about? You want to keep people here that are the reason that we have the Laken Riley Act? That's who you're advocating for?
By the way,
you're on the wrong side of history.
His background, his early years, he was a student of history and then a professor of history. So that's why he has that perspective of history on a regular basis.
Love Newt. Always have. He's a treasure for sure. When we come back on Xtra 106.3, the explanation... the explanation of anus by front office.
Yes.
I can't even, I had to write it down. I couldn't.
We're going to send you out on a laugh. We're going to give you the history.
Yes. Get ready to laugh on a Thursday leading into some college basketball. Tug and Los until 10 on the Morning Xtra. Thank you for being here.
The latest sports news, powered by 680 The Fan, and driven to extra listeners by RBM of Atlanta in Sandy Springs, Atlanta's Mercedes-Benz connection since 1964.
Good morning. Here are your sports headlines for Thursday, March 20th. The Field of 64 gets underway this afternoon, this unofficial American holiday, as the men's college basketball tournament will begin. We'll start with 9th-ranked Creighton and 8th-ranked Louisville. That'll get action underway in the South region at 12:10. 13-seeded High Point will play 4th-seeded Purdue in the Midwest region. That's a 12:40 tip-off. The final game of this opening couple of hours will be in the East region as 14th-ranked Montana plays 3rd-ranked Wisconsin. That is the 1:30 tip-off. From Northport, Braves spring training continues for one more week before the start of the regular season. The Braves host the Philadelphia Phillies today at 1:05. You can hear that game on our sister station's app, the all-new 680 The Fan. With your sports headlines, I'm Carlos Medina.
You know the old expression, I love it when a plan comes together? Well, with our First Liberty Notes, this has been so true. Hello, I'm Brant Frost, founder of First Liberty Building and Loan. You hear about our family's company all the time right here on this station. For over 30 years, we've been the local lender who said yes when the big banks say no. A couple of months ago, we opened up our First Liberty Notes program to Main Street investors just like you, and the response has been just incredible. Folks from airline pilots to physicians to even pastors are now earning 8 to 13% interest rates while helping to fuel the growth of local small businesses. bonuses. If you're a qualified investor with a minimum of $25,000, you too could be earning 8 to 13% interest. We'd love to have you join our First Liberty family today. Go to FirstLibertyGA.com and see if our First Liberty notes are right for you. Go to FirstLibertyGA.com. That's FirstLibertyGA.com.
First Liberty notes are not obligations of or guaranteed by any financial institution and are not secured by any collateral. They are not FDIC insured or guaranteed by any government agency. You could lose money. SEC accredited investor status must be verified. Securities not offered in any jurisdiction in which it is unlawful.
Hey, it's a Kimmer. You know, a great smile can make you more successful as well as make you happy. Yes, it's true. And your smile's waiting for you at my dentist, Dr. Dina Giesler, my friend for 30 years and dentist forever. This woman at Atlanta Smiles, atlantasmiles.com, the dentist with the doggy. It's really true, whether it's just regular cleaning or bridges or crowns or are your teeth bothering a little bit, maybe a little ache or something, or your gums it's not going to get better on its own. Take it from me, I found that out the hard way. Taking care of your teeth and gums and everybody's happy. And by the way, you can relax with Dr. Dina. This is an individual, private VIP experience. The latest technology. She used AI to get my last thing done at my last visit. And don't forget the doggy. She's a little doggy to take a nap in your lap while you're getting your work done. And this staff, these ladies are angels, I promise you. You'll love going there. A veteran herself, Dr. Dina, 10% veterans discount off the top. Tell them when you call. 404-262-7733. Your smile's waiting. Get the doggy at atlantasmiles.com.
We all know that life can be unpredictable. The moment you're planning that family trip and then the next somebody is sick. And that's why I want to talk to you about the Jace case, your ultimate safety net when emergencies strike. The Jace case isn't just that mess of medications behind the mirror up in the cabinet. It's an organized doctor-prescribed case of life-saving tools paired with a set of cards explaining exactly how and when to use these medications. The case is peace of mind in a time of uncertainty. Imagine having your essential prescriptions right at your fingertips, ready to go when you need them most. Whether it's a sudden allergy flare-up or a common cold, you won't have to scramble to find the help you need. It's about taking charge of your health and being prepared no matter what life throws at you. When you order your Jace case today, use the promo code BECK at jace.com for a discount. Don't wait for the unexpected to catch you off guard. Be ready with the right medications on hand the moment you need them at jase.com, jace.com, promo code BECK.
Fox on Tech.
Could your Alexa be a little less private going forward? Amazon has plans to do away with a privacy setting for Echo, its speaker device used by many to interact with the retail giant's ever-popular Alexa digital assistant. The feature is called Do Not Send Voice Recordings. It prevents the Echo devices from sending recorded versions of your Hey Alexas to Amazon. And while that setting will go away on March 28th, the actual feature will still be there. They're moving it into an existing setting simply labeled Don't Save Recordings. Amazon says that while the Echo will delete voice requests, they are still sent to Amazon's cloud for processing, and your choice to not send recordings should port over to the new setting. But Amazon warns keeping that setting on means Voice ID won't work, and your Alexa won't learn or recognize individual voices. With Fox on Tech, I'm Eben Brown, Fox News.
Extra 106.3 is proud to be your conservative voice in Atlanta, and we offer a huge slate of original podcasts. Head over to thepodcastpark.com and grab the podcast that you love, all presented by Associated Credit Union.
I don't know how this came up. I'm not sure what's on Los's mind, but usually when his mind is working at a level that most can't understand, it turns out really, really good. So we're going to get into, in just a moment, the explanation of anus. I mean, it's so weird. It's such a weird thing to say.
This is almost a abbreviated weird version of story time.
That's kind of like that. Well, I'll let you know that Atlanta Safe House, #1 Browning safe dealer in the country, today through Saturday, is doing their big tent sale. $400 off. They got scratch and dents. They got tax-free for gun safe. And then tomorrow from 3 to 6, Kimmer will be broadcasting live there. So go by there. Hang out with them. AtlantaSafeHouse.com is the website. Let's take it away.
So this goes back 20 years ago. Now, I'm going to start by saying that the other day, Tug talked about the onus being on you, and I immediately said, anus?
And I was like, no, onus. No, Los, onus.
Tug was very confused. Now, I'm going to take you back to, this is like summer 2001, so this is quite a ways ago. And I worked at the Ticket in Dallas. I'd started as an intern there and, kind of did the whole worked there for 4 years. That place was ultra creative. Like, you had to be creative to get anywhere near a microphone. But one of the places where you didn't really have to worry about that was the golf show. And a friend of mine who was the original producer of a show I worked for is named Rick Arnett. And he had a guy that he worked with was Craig Rosengarten. Craig, nice dude, had a bit of a lisp. That's why he was Saturday morning, okay? Like, he wasn't going to get on the air on a regular basis. And so one of the funniest things about Craig is that as much as he was like a learned guy, a reader into golf, he would just mess up metaphors, mix metaphors, would try and say things at times and would totally screw it up. So this audio is from like 24 years ago, so it's going to sound a little bit crazy. I want you to this is the original time where Craig was trying to say that the onus is on you. And he was talking about, like, if you happen to hit into another group of golfers, that's on you. Take a listen to when he tried and the screw up that occurred.
You start sculling balls to the point where you're about to hurt somebody and you don't do anything about it, you're a flawed guy. Yeah. That guy who was sculling the shots and all whizzing them by the guy's head and everything should have stopped. The anus was on hand. He should have moved. The anus? The heinous. The heinous. Oh. The heinous. I don't think so.
All right, so that's what occurred. That he's like, the anus is on you.
Who's the other guy that's like, dude, you got this all wrong?
Now that's Rick Arnett. He's the guy who's and he's the one who's like, I don't think so. Like, re-rack that just so now that you know what to listen for. Rick Arnett's going to basically tell him, like, no, that's not the right use of it. And Craig is trying to say the heinous, like he's trying to come up with what the real thing is. Take a listen.
You start sculling balls to the point where you're about to hurt somebody and you don't do anything about it, you're a flawed guy. Yeah. That guy who was sculling the shots and all whizzing them by the guy's head and everything should have stopped. The anus was on hand. He should have moved. The anus? The heinous. The heinous.
Oh. He's trying to switch it.
The heinous. I don't think
so. So you have that, right? Now
he's so nervous, man. He's trying to switch it to anything. He's like not even in the same. It's not even the same word anymore.
So let's fast forward. There is a writer named VJ Boyd who has done a lot of programming for FX, and the show that you would know the most is Justified. That's the Timothy Oliphant. He's the Raylan Jennings guy, whatever. He's like the country sheriff, right? And he deals with the drug.
I remember the show. I didn't watch it.
Yeah, the show was on. I did like 10 seasons, so there was an audience. And in fact, it went away and came back. Well, VJ Boyd was a Dallas guy who was writing for the show, and randomly he would drop in all of these references towards the radio station, the ticket. Like, there was a guy I worked with was Sean Bass, who now does middays there. He's known as the Seabass. Well, suddenly they would have a character named Sean Seabass. There was an update guy named Ty Walker. Well, suddenly you would have a character on the show named Ty Walker. There was all these references to the radio station he would listen to. And also, that included this reference in one of the shows.
The anus is on you.
And the guy goes, the what? He flat out, the anus is on you, huh?
All because he had heard. So did he ever communicate with the radio station?
Yeah,
like, hey, or did you just stumble on it?
It was stumbled upon and pointed out, and then he got into contact with the station. They had him on, and I remember this was years and years ago. And they would talk about the Easter eggs that he was dropping in that made no sense to anyone else. But if you were a Dallas ticket listener and you checked out FX, you were to picking up that's another reference. And so by the time that the anus was on you, that's why when you said onus, I've been conditioned for 25 years to go,
to react.
Anus?
Because when you said it yesterday,
I don't think so.
I was like, no, what? Did I slip up? What did I say? No, that's so funny, man. I love stuff like that. The Easter eggs. Anytime there's Easter eggs and you know about them, like you're in the know, that's so beautiful. It's like, for us, the new Kimmer music, like Bullets for Love.
Yes.
Like if you, like 5 years from now when we're still playing that stuff, people were here originally will go, I remember when. Those are the Easter eggs that make radio and the relationship between radio hosts and listeners so good.
I had somebody reach out to me on Twitter, on X over the weekend, and it was in reference to a stunt that I pulled, a joke that I pulled during Frisco Rough Rider baseball, and it was in a very similar way. And the person that reached out, they reached out to one of my former coworkers. He's the one who ended up linking me on X and saying, actually, that wasn't me. That was Los who did that. And so maybe one of these days we'll get a chance to play that one. But yeah,
so.
it's put it this way. Somebody was talking about a pitcher coming back from a labrum tear, and I happened to use the talkback button, which means it does not go out over the air. It only goes into the broadcaster's headset. But I didn't refer to it as labrum. I refer to it as some other female part.
Oh, I think I know which one.
And he proceeded to say it on the air.
No, he didn't.
Yeah.
Dude, you set that dude up for failure. That's awful.
Scott Garner, yeah.
That's great. We're
in my head all week long.
Dude, it's the greatest.
Lovely pianos.
Yeah. Oh, can you re-rack it, start it just on the Bullets for Love?
Yes,
Because I
sir.
want to sing it the rest of the day.
Man, these earworms.
Dude, it's so much fun. That's what it's like. Me and Jacob still pull up. My son Jacob, we still pull up the Sal thing that y'all did. That our
the Braves Radio Network rain delay show.
Yes, we still pull that up and giggle because it means so much to us.
He's
There we
got
go.
the gift. Na 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 na. Bullets for love.
Let's
na,
go.
Na, na, na.
Dude, that doesn't make you happy. I don't know what will. But still, to your point, though, about how like people love those Easter eggs and those things that mean something to them from over the years. And we've all been very fortunate and blessed to be a part of a lot of them. We still pull up Sal and listen to that bit because it's so good and so funny.
I hope that as you go about your day, the listening audience, that at some point you do have an opportunity. Maybe it's when you're out somewhere grabbing a beer and be like, hey, the anus is on you to bring that thing back.
That's right.
And just see what happens.
Do yourself a favor. Work it in some way today.
Yes.
And then if you can,
Let
call
us know
back
about it.
and tell us, the reaction, just because it's so good. That'll do it for us. We're going to turn this thing over to the Glenn Beck program. Don't do any work this afternoon. Maybe listen to Extra with the game on. Extra's volume up, game volume down. But we appreciate you being here for Los and Jure. My name is Tug. Y'all come back now, you hear?
Searching for her. Na 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 na. A nice girl spooked by what he gave. Kimmer's heart's a bullet wave.
You may know that ATL Turf Co. has become a leader in artificial grass design and installation services. But you may not know that ATL Turf Co. is a large artificial grass distributor. We only sell U.S.-made, premium name brand turf at factory direct pricing below wholesale. And now we're open to the public with large inventories of lawn and landscape, putting green, athletic, and pet turf on sale. Plus, all remnants are on sale for only $1 per square foot, direct from Dalton to our warehouse in Kennesaw. Visit atlturfco.com to learn more. atlturfco.com.
Have you considered securing your family's future? Protecting your hard-earned assets, navigating complex legal matters with ease. Nelson Elder Care Law is here to guide and empower you and your loved ones. As a family-owned and family-focused business, our mission is to exceed your expectations, offering absolute assurance and peace of mind. With our trademark Absolute Protection Trust and expertise in customized estate planning, Medicaid crisis solutions, probate administration, guardianship, and conservatorship, Nelson Elder Care Law protects what matters most to you. Imagine a team dedicated to safeguarding your legacy every step of the way. Our flat fees ensure transparency, and our customized plans prioritize your family's specific needs. Are you worried about protecting your family and your legacy after you're gone? Let us help you ensure you're absolutely protected from whatever curveballs life may throw your way. Schedule a complimentary legacy planning meeting with our legal team in Marietta or Woodstock today. Contact us at 678-250-9355 or visit NelsonElderCareLaw.com.